underrated the Congolese because in the first 20-30 minutes, the Nigerians dominated the match. The Congolese played as if, they were not ready. But as the time went on, they took charge and then as the game, I also noticed the Congolese coach is very tactician. How he brought the latter thing, he brought he changed the keeper. As a penalty, it was a lottery, so to go anywhere. And then Nigerian high-profile players didn't turn up for the match. I can tell you, Lukman, Osimhen, and then Mr. Salmon, he came on later. He didn't have any effect on the game. And my last observation is that having watched Senegal versus Brazil, having watched yesterday's match, it seems Ghana, our team has a lot of flaws we need to upgrade. Else you might not even get past the first round at the World Cup. So you guys, since you are closer to those in charge, we need to strengthen our defense. Congolese player could take a player on dribble, push the ball forward, and put a good pass to the front guys or the midfield. But our team, it lack all those things. So I'm begging you, Raymond, you need to speak for us because the World Cup is a higher stage and you could be disgraced. This is not how the Ghana plays. You are aware.
Yeah.
So please, Henry.
Right. Great. Thank you very much for your time on the show this morning. And you can also give us a call 0542571061. The Black Stars were in action against Japan on Friday. They lost that game by 2-0, and they will be back in action tomorrow against South Korea at 10 a.m. You can also share your thoughts on the Black Stars. What did you see in that game against Japan? Which players impressed you? Share your thoughts with us on the show this morning, as well as the game Nigeria played yesterday. The Super Eagles will not be making it to the World Cup. It's back-to-back no-shows for Nigeria for the first time since they've made their debut at the World Cup in 1994. Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Good morning. Good morning, Ray.
Yes. Your name and where you're joining us from? Okay.
This is Anubio. From Makati.
Great, Anubio. Let's hear you.
I'm laughing in class this morning. First of all, good morning to Mr. Banzin, and sorry to him as well. It's his utmost wish that Nigeria qualify because he wants to see me to play in the World Cup. But big bro, it didn't happen. Sorry. Your boys were too comfortable. They're too confident. You see, in game of football, we all know this, and every player knows that. But I don't know why our friends, brothers, neighbors, and our rivals are too confident when they are playing some teams. You look at their demeanor on the pitch. You see, because they won the first match against Gabon in extra time by walloping them 3 goals, they thought it's something that they can easily go through or it's their bet right. See, if it was their bet right, they would have qualified through the main qualification.
Right.
The group stages. Because look at the team they played. What happens to them is just like what happened to us with the AFCON qualification. The teams there, they could have beaten them easily. But because they are star-studded, they are overconfident, and they don't want to play as a team. That is the problem. Me, I'm happy. I'm very happy, Papa. Yeah, I'm happy, Mr. Banson. Sorry once again. But some of us, we are happy. We are living the rivalry life proper. They should sit down and watch us. Just like we are going to sit down and watch them play the AFCON. They should also sit down and watch us. That is the world of football. Either Dr. Congo managed to go through or they don't go through. We are still happy that Alataya is sitting home and watch us play the World Cup.
Right.
I hope Nathan will get back to us in peace.
Yes,
May
Nathan.
God be with us all. Good morning to my fellow listeners.
Right.
Let's have a wonderful week.
Have a wonderful week too, Anubel. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, give us a call 0542571061 or 0302794805. I have a caller on the line. Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yeah, Raymond. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, yeah, this is Ellie from Spintel. I'm currently in Cantonment right now as I'm speaking to you.
Right, Ellie, let's hear you.
Oh yeah, but the last time I called on they did a show after Nigeria eliminated
Gabon,
and I called in and I saw Nigeria will not step foot in America, and one of the Nigerian guys called to insult me, Bakari and the other guy, they told you that they told the guy to apologize, and I told them they will never qualify. I'm one of the happiest people. Yesterday after the game, Gary, your team lead, but he did a Twitter space.
It was a space.
I joined the Twitter
call
space.
Nigeria and laugh. Let's laugh at Nigeria.
Yesterday I joined it. We all laugh at it. The way I'm happy, if the Congo didn't qualify, the way I'm happy. Because you already, Trump doesn't want to see you go. So what do you want to go do in America? Already in Nigeria, you have a problem with Trump. They want to go to America. Go and do what? So, they should sit home and watch us go. The way I'm happy that Nigeria is out there. I'm one of the most happiest people yesterday. so have a nice day.
Right. Have a nice day. Have a nice day too. Hey, so a lot of Ghanaians were secretly praying that Nigeria don't qualify. Hey, your neighbors, our neighbors. Oh, Charlie. Well, I have a caller on the line. Good morning to your name and where you're calling us from. Okay, I think I lost that caller. I thought Ghanaians and Nigerians were, we're very good. We're very good neighbors, and I thought that their problem would be our problem. But it seems today, people are happy Nigeria didn't qualify. Give us a call, 0542-571061, 0542-571061, or 0302-794805. The Black Stars were also in action, and nobody seems to be talking about the Black Stars. So we played Japan last Friday. The performance was not all that inspiring, but Motoado would definitely pick a few. He would have picked a few lessons from that game. The Black Stars are in action tomorrow against South Korea. And we'll bring you updates from the camp of the senior national team, the Black Stars. But this morning we'll be getting into the Ghana Premier League as well, because it's shaping up pretty well at the summit of the Ghana Premier League table. Pando Heart of Lions. They are dreaming of winning this year's Ghana Premier League. Media MSC also have big dreams of staying up there and possibly finishing with the crown. Adriana SC are also in there doing everything possible to make sure they are in the running for this year's Ghana Premier League title. Kumasi Asante Kotoko are also unbeaten as we speak. Let me pick my last two calls and then we get into the discussion on the show this morning. Hello, good morning to you. Your name and where you are calling us from?
Hello, good morning. My name is Ahmed. I'm calling from Ajin Kotoku.
Ahmed, turn down the volume on your radio set a bit and let's talk, okay?
Okay. I think I've done now.
Right. Let's hear you.
I want to talk about the Blaster match.
Right.
But before that, I want to suggest to Abigail the program, the Ghana Premier League program.
Yeah.
The Sport Fight, what she does.
Yeah.
The podcast.
Yeah.
After that, I will suggest to her that she should bring the league table on top of it, so you all know each point, each team, and the point that they have gathered.
Very well noted.
Well,
okay.
I want to know why is it that
Ahmed. I think Ahmed's line is a bit dodgy. Ahmed, can you hear me? Okay. Ahmed, you can call back. 0542-571061. I have a caller on the line. Good morning to your name and where you are calling us from.
Good morning, Uncle Ray.
Yes, sir.
My name is Justin.
Let's hear you.
With our brothers in Nigeria, we are happy. Their problem is not our problem. We were happy when we didn't qualify for the Cup of Nations. So we are also happy they are not going to win the World Cup. They should get 43 inches, 55 inches and watch us. How we are going to dazzle in the World Cup.
Right.
In regards to the Black Stars, it was just a bit too much. We didn't have the rest of our squad. And I believe most of these players invited are justifying their inclusion. With our game against against South Korea. We are not going to get it easy, and I pray we get the favorable results. Have a good morning.
Have a good morning, and thanks for joining us on the show this morning. This is the Sporty Breakfast live on Sporty 106.1 FM in Accra. Just picking your thoughts on everything that happened over the weekend. Let me pick another call. Good morning to you, your name and where you're calling us from. Okay. So the Black Stars would play against South Korea tomorrow. And we are hoping that the Black Stars would come to the party this time around. Against Japan, it was not the performance we expected, but, well, we'll see how things go. As we speak, reports from the team camp suggests that Antoine Semenyo has picked up an injury, and Mohamed Salisu has also picked up an injury, and both players will not be available for the Black Stars when they take on South Korea tomorrow. We'll get into the discussion on the show in a bit. But Nathan Kwa will be joining us all the way from Morocco because yesterday he was at the Prince Moulay Hassan Stadium in Rabat, and he watched everything, including the DR Congo side and the technical team member who was doing the voodoo, as is being alleged by Eric Shell. Nathan will be joining us in a bit, and he'll bring us every detail, in fact, everything that happened, play-by-play analysis. In fact, every single thing we missed, the news behind the news. Nathan will be bringing us all that on the show this morning. Later on, we'll open the phone lines. Later on, we'll open the phone lines for you to join us with your thoughts on some of the other matters we'll be discussing here on the Sporty Breakfast. This is Sporty FM, and this is Sporty 106.1 in Accra, 102.5 in Takoradi, and 91.3 in Kumasi. This is the Sporty Breakfast, and you're live on Sporty 106.1 FM. This is Sporty Breakfast, and we'll begin the discussion from Morocco because a lot happened in Morocco yesterday. And our man on the beat, Nathan Kwao, is on the line. He will be joining us shortly to bring us to run the rule over everything that happened before the game, during the game, and after the game. And you can trust us to bring you nothing but the best of stories from Nigeria, from the Nigeria clash against DR Congo. DR Congo are very excited. They are happy because it was a very tough qualifying series for them. They managed to finish behind Senegal when they had it all to do. They could have possibly even qualified for the tournament if they had done a good job against Senegal. They missed out on that opportunity, but they had another opportunity to go to the World Cup. They took advantage of it. And as we speak, they have sealed a playoff spot at the Inter-Confederation playoff, and we'll see how things would pan out for them. And their coach, very excited, Sebastian Desabre, is excited, and he's been speaking. He's been speaking about what actually happened and how excited he is following his team's progress to the Inter-Confederation playoff. Let's hear from a coach of DRC, Sebastian Desabre.
It was difficult, but the spirit of my team is high, and we chose to try to control the game. And I think in the ball position we have a good start today. And after we believe from the start of this this qualification. I think it's 12 games. It's a 9 win for us. I think we deserve to continue. But it's okay. It's not easy because Nigeria is 41 in FIFA rank, and it's a little bit difficult for us. But I think we deserve today.
And that was Sebastien Desabre, the coach of the Democratic Republic of Congo. They call them the Leopards. They did a job over the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And yesterday, after the game, the captain of Nigeria, Trust Ekong, who didn't start the game, also had a few words. Definitely not very good times for the Nigerians. But this is what the captain of Nigeria, Trust Ekong, had to say.
We're devastated as a team. I'm really proud of the boys. These are moments where there's so much emotion. The boys gave it everything. It's not just this game, games before, the last 10 months. We went out fighting. It wasn't good enough today, but I think there's so much positive still to take from here. There's the AFCON around the corner in 1 month's time. And I've seen so many players stand up, become leaders, the experience that they gained throughout this qualification. And I think the future of this team is bright. We have so many young players also here. They still have time to be at the next World Cup. But today is a really tough day, and all of us are really feeling it. We want to be at the World Cup, and it didn't work out that way. But I think, like I said, we're really proud of the team.
Well, that's the captain of the side. He says he's proud of the team. They were hoping to make it to the World Cup, but it didn't happen. The Super Eagles would have to endure another difficult period without the World Cup. They would be watching yet another World Cup on their screens. Very, very, very difficult time to be a Nigerian. But if we get into the analysis on, how it happened and why Nigeria failed to make it to the World Cup at the first time of asking, and then, when they were given the second opportunity, I think they almost sneaked into the Intercontinental playoff or the Interconfederation playoffs. They were doing everything possible to make amends for their failure to qualify at the first time of asking. But we'll go to Nigeria in a bit and gauge the mood in Nigeria at the moment. What are the Nigerians saying? What are the Nigerians saying? What exactly, what do they think of the performance of their team? We'll go straight to Nigeria and then pick the thoughts of Kunle Solaja. He's a Nigerian sports journalist, and he'll be bringing us up to speed on everything that has happened so far, pre-game, in-game, post-game, what is happening in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me welcome my guest, Kunle Solaja, to the Sporty Breakfast. Kunle, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty Breakfast.
Yeah. Good morning, and how are you in Accra?
We are doing great. Yourself, how are you feeling this morning? The morning after the night before.
Well, I feel it was a night for me and most other Nigerians. We had expected that the Super Eagles, given that second chance, will make the best use of it and then possibly qualify into the Intercontinental playoff, which we believe will be simpler than the CAF playoff. But unfortunately, that dream has evaporated.
Kunle, what's the mood like in Nigeria? In fact, what was the mood like last night after the Eagles failed to progress?
Yeah, everywhere, expectedly, everywhere was very dull because people were really disappointed because they felt Nigeria should be the overwhelming favorite to pick that ticket after the unsteady way they have gone through the fire. And unfortunately, if you look at if you analyze Nigeria's matches right from the first match till the one of yesterday night, I think it was only once that they considered 2 goals in a match, and that was the only match they actually lost. That's the match against Benin Republic played in Abidjan. After that, they never considered more than one goal, including that of yesterday. And I believe that the loss yesterday was a tactical blunder from the bench. Having changed Osimhen at the beginning of the first half, Nigeria's attack literally crumbled. And I don't know the state of fitness of Osimhen, but I still believe that a one-legged Osimhen was better than 9 other players in the Nigerian national team. We could see that after his exit, we didn't really have any. We just have to defend, and they did that to the point that fatigue set in, and it was obvious too. Even though it appeared they were playing for penalty, it was obvious from the result that they never practiced penalty shootout. Their best penalty taker, who is the captain of the team, Ekong, was left on the bench even when they were making last-minute substitution during the extra time. So the coach just lost focus, and it's just unfortunate. Like Italy, Nigeria will make another back-to-back miss at the World Cup.
Right. Let's get into the whys. What accounted for Nigeria's inability to qualify via the group stage initially? Because for a lot of people felt they were in a group that they could have comfortably navigated because of the quality they have in their team. What accounted for Nigeria's disappointing run in that first round of qualifiers? And again, what cost them in yesterday's game? Was it Osimhen's injury, or it was clearly down to the coach's tactical bankruptcy, as you suggested?
Yeah. First and foremost, that should have been an easy group for Nigeria, considering the caliber of teams that were in that group. South Africa was seen as probably the only team that could really give Nigeria a good run for their money. But unfortunately, it wasn't just South Africa, it was virtually all the countries. And I can't really say what really went wrong with Nigeria. Right from the first match in November 2023, they never got anything right. And they were almost losing that first match against Lesotho in New York. They have to come back in the second half to equalize that match, and it ended 1-1. And by the time they played their first 3 matches, it was all 1 draw against Zimbabwe and at home against South Africa, before eventually losing to Benin Republic in the Abidjan. So they had that poor run, and the constant changes of coaches. It was Peseiro that started the contest. After 2 matches, he was removed, and we have
Finidi,
Nigerian and the team. That's a former international Finidi. And Finidi made his own tactical blunders. Probably wanted to assert himself. He benched most of the star players that Nigeria had, thinking that he would that way be able to assert himself on the bench, and it cost him dearly. We labored to a 1-1 draw with South Africa at home here, and then we went to Abidjan and we lost. After that, we knew that our World Cup aspiration were already evaporated. And by the time we reverted to the technical director of Senegal, things really didn't do better until Eric Chelle came as the first non-Nigerian African to handle the Nigerian national team. And in all fairness, he turned the team around, because we had our first win in the series, a 2-0 win against Rwanda in Kigali, followed by a 1-1 draw. And I think I can't really explain it. They always have this mistake at the last minute of their matches. That if they had won the match against Zimbabwe in maybe they would have qualified directly. But on the dot of the last minute of the added time, they considered a goal, and it was 1-1. Just the same way they did in the first match of the playoff against Gabon. Losing concentration at critical moments. They almost did that again in the match against Lesotho in South Africa last month. We had a 2-goal lead, and within the last 4 minutes of that match, they made a mistake. Lesotho put a goal back, and Lesotho was almost scoring a second goal, but for the fact that they just allowed that ball to just scale, out of goal line by the side post, and it could have been a different thing entirely. Be that as it may, South Africa that qualified, well, we say they have a limit of loss on their side, because out of that 10 matches, they played 7 on their home soil. They were able to convince Lesotho and Zimbabwe to play their home matches in South Africa. And that means that was a huge advantage for South Africa, playing 7 matches at home on their home soil. The only 3 matches they played out of their home soil was the away match to Nigeria and the away match to Benin, played in Cotonou. Played in Abidjan, and the away match to Rwanda played in Kigali. So that was already a huge boost for them. But that does not excuse the fact that Nigeria, with the array of stars, we are supposed to be strong anywhere, whether at home or away. But they let the struggle so late. Yeah, it was the match against Benin that the lady came up. And if you also observe very well, it was only in matches that Victor Osimhen played that we were able to even do well.
Yeah, I was going to.
The whole thing just.
Yeah, I was going to come
that
to.
That means the whole team was just built around him, and I still don't know. It is still very inexplicable why he was substituted at halftime in yesterday's match, and that's where I say that they committed a big blunder.
Right. Kunle, yesterday, I think after the game, what we picked up was that Osimhen was injured and could not continue the game. But Nigeria possibly have over-relied on Osimhen in this qualifiers. And so, in games where he hasn't played, Nigeria have clearly struggled to figure themselves out. Now, what do you also make of the decision by the coach not to play his captain, Trust the Kong, and rather replace him with the young Benjamin Fredericks? I mean, did that also affect the team in any way, or it was just an opportunity for the young man to also show what he had to bring to the team? Did that also affect the Nigerians in a way?
No, that didn't affect the Nigerian team in any way, because Benjamin actually became a replacement for Ola Aina, who has always been playing in that wing. And I'm sure by the time Ola Aina comes back, he regains his fitness, will have to fight for that shirt. Ola Aina was injured in the away match against South Africa in September, which Nigeria did 1-1 draw. And he had to limp, and he has not been featuring for his club because the injury was severe. So Frederick was not a replacement for Ekong. But then you also look at it, Ekong, maybe aging scale is beginning to set in. The match against Zimbabwe, in which we drew 1-1 at home, it was the cause of that equalizer, because I think fatigue set in. The Zimbabwean just outran him, and then Fraser almost at the net to score that goal. If you also recall the match against South Africa, he scored the own goal. He scored the own goal against Nigeria in that match. So those are things that I think made the coach to know that he could not play a full match again. But all the same, he should have been brought in yesterday, because he was our best penalty kicker. And knowing fully well that the team was playing for penalty, I think the best penalty kicker should have been an obvious substitute in that match, just like Congo did. They knew that goalkeeper, the second place goalkeeper, was very good in penalty kicks. That was why they brought him in just before the extra time.
Yeah. Kunle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
My final question to you would be, what next for the Super Eagles? They play at the AFCON next year. In the last edition of the AFCON, they finished second. Would Nigerians be satisfied with an AFCON win? Would that be enough compensation for missing out on the World Cup?
Well, to me, I've always prioritized qualifying for World Cup ahead of even winning the AFCON. Because if you look at it monetarily, because football has become a business now, it's no longer a vocation. Qualifying for the World Cup will guarantee at least $12 million. And winning the AFCON can only guarantee you $6 million. So which one is better? It is qualifying for the World Cup. My only fear is that it's always taking a long time for Nigeria to recover when there is a major slump and it's not affecting the team in going to AFCON next month in Morocco, because their spirits are down now and the team needs to be rebuilt. Most of their real stars are aging, and the younger ones, like even the talk of Ademola Lookman, the current African Footballer of the Year, he has lost form tremendously. I think the problem he has with his club Atalanta in Italy has really affected it. He's not playing regularly in the club. When it comes to the national team, his mass fitness is always his suspect.
Right, Kunle, let me say a big thank you to you for your time on Sporty Breakfast this morning. We are grateful for sharing your thoughts with us on Nigeria's journey in the World Cup qualifiers, and we wish you all the best as you regroup for the next tournament.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And I wish the Black Stars a good outing in the World Cup.
Thank you very much. We need it. Thank you. And that was Kunle Solaja. He's a Nigerian sports journalist joining us, sharing his thoughts with us on what's been happening in Nigeria post-game, and also what to look forward to, what Nigerians should be looking forward to as far as the Super Eagles are concerned. They play at this year's AFCON, and we'll see if they can make it to the finals like they did in Ivory Coast. We wish them well. Victor Osimhen and the likes. Victor Osimhen would have to wait until the next 4 years for another attempt to get to the World Cup. Sad to see Africa parade all their best stars without Victor Osimhen at the World Cup. You know, it would be sad. Ademola Lookman and the likes, all of them would have been very nice additions to the World Cup. But unfortunately, our Nigerian brothers failed to seize the moment and make it to the World Cup. But we wish them well as they possibly go to AFCON and dream of winning it. We'll see how things pan out for them. But I'm joined in the studio by Coach Ebenezer Sefa, who also watched the game yesterday. Coach, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty Breakfast.
Good morning.
Coach, you saw the Nigerians yesterday. If you analyze that game properly, what went wrong for the Nigerians in that game?
Well, I think that Nigerian players need to be more committed. I saw the Congolese being more committed, more purposeful in the game yesterday. I mean, Nigeria had some few opportunities that I felt that with the caliber of players that they have, they should have buried those opportunities. And as the journalist from Nigeria was talking about Ademola Lookman, he has deep in form. So as a manager and you know the player has deep in form, obviously there should be some kind of tactical change in terms of your approach. And I've also spoke about the dressing room of the Nigerian team. And for me yesterday, Nigeria didn't come to the party. They don't. I mean, the Congolese deserved all. They dominated all the department of the game. They played as a unit. They were compact. And for me, if they had an arrowhead, somebody who will be able to put the ball on the back of the net for them, they could have finished the Nigerian team within the 90 minutes instead of going into the extra time. For me, they played very well. And at a point, Nigeria were looking like, without Victor Osimhen in the team, they look ordinary.
Yeah, but coach, how much of a blow did that, throughout the Nigerians? Because clearly, with Osimhen, they looked a different team. Without Osimhen, it was almost like did that also affect their chances?
Because that guy is very forceful, and in the first 45 minutes, you saw him running all over, trying to urge his colleagues to close in the gap between him and the midfielders. I mean, Oyinka and the rest, and Ndidi in the midfield, because he was running at them. And the fear is that anytime you allow Victor Osimhen the least opportunity, being in the head or the feet, he'll punish you. Yeah. He's very strong. In as much as he's not bulky, he's very strong physically. When he went out, I was expecting the Nigerian players to do even more than what when Osimhen was on the field, to prove to everybody that, look, Osimhen is out, but we want to kill ourselves for the match.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that. And they were giving balls away, and you have to also give credit to the manager of the Congolese team, because he varied his system and decided to press the Nigerians back line. That is where Kevin Bassey was making those mistakes. Yeah. And for me, their goalkeeper, I don't know whether he doesn't know how to send long balls when it is 1v1, the final third, or even how to transit from the back to midfield. For me, I think that the Congolese deserves it, because after they conceded the first goal, look at how they came back. I mean, tactically they were very good, and the mental toughness of the players were up there, and tactically they matched the Nigerians boot for boot. And you could clearly see that they have a lot of balls in the team, creative players in the team than the Nigerian side. Nigeria didn't have any creativity in their team. Lukman, Ademola, Chukwueze, they are not creative than the Congolese had a lot of creativity in their midfield, and that worried the Nigerian team. Even their equalizer, I felt that Ndidi should have cleared the ball once instead of trying to control that ball. If he had gone to clear the ball once, he would have saved Nigeria from conceding that goal. So on the day, I think that the Congolese deserves. As Friday, I said it here, I told you that, look, I would love Nigeria to go, not because of the game that they are going to play, but the euphoria that will come around Nigeria being at the World Cup. If you're a journalist and you are in the World Cup, and probably you find yourself to have Nigeria, Ghana in the same hotel. Of course, you're going to get news from the Nigerian camp and probably interview some quality players from the Nigerian side and all that. And by the end of the day, the pitch decided, and you realize that the Congolese were better than the Nigerians. And one will ask, how did Nigeria go to the playoff? If you have countries, Benin, Lesotho, and you cannot play and beat them at your own backyard, struggle with these teams, and of course they also don't have consistent manager. They've been changing, and for me, I think that has also been one factor. And the ego of the Nigerian players. You understand? When they decided not to train because of bonuses and
but they overcame that. They did a job against Gabon.
This is the time you should prove to the whole nation, the Nigerian populace, that look, we demanded for our bonuses because of this. We demanded for our right because of this. At the end of the day, they did what they were supposed to do for you players. The fans were there. Everybody were rooting for you. It got to the point for you to also make the Nigerians happy. You failed them. And I'm not sure these players will go back to Nigeria. They'll be flying to their bases, their various clubs, and I'm sure they will reassemble in December in AFCON, probably, if they'll be coming with clean hearts, or probably ready, because they'll be downhearted.
Yeah.
Because countries that will be also going to the World Cup, the likes of the Senegals, then the Ivorians, I'm talking about the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire, the Moroccans, and they're all going to be part of the Cup of Nations. Yeah. If you feel that you are the finals of the last AFCON, and this time too, you also, if that is where you prefer, fine, you are there. But for me, I'm disappointed in the Nigerians. Somebody was telling me this morning that, look, in Africa today, if you are telling the countries to name 50 solid quality players, Nigeria will be the first country to produce those players.
No doubt.
50.
Yeah.
So what is their problem? And I showed you something this morning. Quality over quantity.
But we'll see where the Nigerians go from here. Definitely, Eric Schell, I think, ever since he took charge, he's been able to steady the ship.
Yeah.
They had issues. At a point, it was Pesero, Finidi George, Gudo the Guavon also did a few things at a point before Eric Shell came in. So, I mean, the Nigerians would feel hard done because this was a second chance for them. They missed the second chance as well. So it was never going to be.
But when it comes to Africa and it comes to competition like this, for the World Cup, the Mundial, if you fail to qualify, it is a big blow to the nation than anything else.
That is true.
Because the populace want to explore what is there. And this time it's not probably in Colombia or probably Brazil.
It's in Canada, USA.
Even the Mexico people are not making
it's Canada, USA.
And just know how these Nigerians are fancy of these countries that I've mentioned. It's very sad. To be honest with you, it's very sad that at the Mondial, top African players will be there. The current African best footballer of the year, Ademola, will not be there. Victor Osimhen, for me, the best striker at the moment in Africa, if not the world. I mean, the world, you'll be mistaken because Haaland is scoring. Yeah. But Victor Osimhen, if you mention five, Victor Osimhen will be one of them. He will be missing the World Cup. Kevin Bassey, for me, fantastic player. When Ekon was playing at the center back, they started using him as a left back. I thought that he was playing better than that position than when he came as a center back. Yeah. Nigerians have themselves to blame because they've been inconsistent in terms of their collapse, politics within the Nigerian team. Former players feel that they are not being treated well around the national team, like the Finidi George, Sandy Ulysses. When you hear them speak, you see, they don't feel comfortable with this current Nigerian setup. So for me, I believe that they need to go back and use the AFCON probably to reset their national team and probably come back again in the next 4 years if they really want to. And how many of these players will be ready for that World Cup next 4 years? So probably they need to do the resetting, and I think that will really help them. Congratulations to DRC. They've done very well. They've worked hard. And if you believe in football, they showcase football. They prove that, look, they don't have big names, but they've got a team that is solid. Look at their Milford. Look at their captain. How many seasons has he played for the national team? You understand? And I think that they've done so well. Look at how they transit from the defense, midfield, and attack. When they lose possession, see the aggressiveness they press to win possession back. And look at the Nigerians when they lose possession. And I think that losing that ball in midfield for them to get the equalizer, look at the attitude of the Nigerian player. And for me, I think that they have themselves to blame. If they should go back and watch the videos again or the clips again, they'll be cursing their stars. No wonder on social media the fans are crying, screaming, and all that. All not because Nigeria couldn't qualify, because they will not get the opportunity of going to the World Cup.
I think it will be a very big blow to the Nigerians, because they had plans. They had a lot of plans for the competition.
Everybody had plans. If the players had known that, look, this is Mundial, we failed the nation, though they were playing against Ghana. Ghana is a tough side, but this time not Ghana. In a group that we find ourselves to play alongside Benin, no disrespect to Benin and Lesotho, but with the current squad of the Nigerian team, if there was discipline in the Nigerian setup, I don't see why they couldn't have qualified in a group where they have Lesotho and then Benin. They have to struggle to go for even the playoff. You remember the game against South Africa?
Yeah.
And for me, that was a crucial game, but I believe that they've let themselves down. The players themselves will realize that, look, they've let the nation down. I felt so bad for Victor Osimhen. I just love him. I love the way he plays his football. He's so committed, and he wants to give it all. But this is a teamwork. But if the teamwork does not work, you definitely fail. So for me, I think that the Congolese have done very well. They deserve it.
Right. So up next would be the Interconfederation playoffs. And Congo, DR Congo, will be representing Africa in there. Now, this is how it's going to work. 6 teams will be playing in the Interconfederation playoff in March 2026 in North America. New Caledonia, who lost the OFC's automatic qualifying spot to New Zealand, are already in there. And then Bolivia, who finished 7th in CONMEBOL, in CONMEBOL's round-robin qualification format, have already qualified for the playoffs. So you have Oceania coming with North Caledonia. You have South America coming with Bolivia. And then you have Africa coming with DR Congo. And then Asia would wait for the results of the game between Iraq and United Arab Emirates. The second leg would be played today. First leg ended 1-1 in Abu Dhabi. And so today in Basra, tomorrow, 18th November in Basra, would see the second leg. So one of those teams would make it to the playoffs. And then CONCACAF will be represented twice in the playoffs by their two best runner-ups. So from the third round of qualifying, it's looking like Curacao and Costa Rica could be picking those two slots, but there's one game to go. And so depending on who wins, CONCACAF would have two representatives in the playoffs, and then that's how the 6 teams would be decided. Now, after all 6 participants are confirmed, they'll be split into seeded and unseeded teams and into separate pathways. Now, the 2 highest FIFA ranked sides will be seeded and move straight on to the final of each path. The unseeded teams will consist of a pair of single-leg semi-finals with 2 winners advancing to the final. Now, the 2 final winners will be the 47th and 48th national teams at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So that's what's looking like. That's what's looking like at the moment. We'll see how things pan out for DR Congo as they seek to pick up a spot to represent Africa as Africa's 10th representative at the FIFA World Cup 2026. Coach Sefa is here and we'll zoom straight into match day 10 of the Ghana Premier League. And there are lots of interesting fixtures played over the weekend. Let me run you through the results from last weekend's Ghana Premier League. And yes, Hearts of Oak started the weekend with a very unpalatable result for them. They played out a 0-0 draw game with Swedro All Blacks, a game that many were disappointed. Hearts couldn't pick maximum points. And the games continued on Sundays, where we saw 8 games on Sunday. Bechem United defeated Samatex 2-0. Brekum Chelsea defeated Nations FC by 2-1. Bibiani Gold Stars beat Karela United by 1-0. Dreams FC returned to winning ways after beating Hohwe United by 1-0. Midyama SC piled more pressure on 11 Wonders. And that was another very disappointing result for Coach Shapiro. It was a home game. Hearts of Lions defeated Young Apostles by 2-0. Holy Stars beat Vision FC. Holy Stars and Vision FC played out a 2-2 draw. And then Asante Kotoko and Ediana SC played out a 1-1 draw game. And that was the top liner of the weekend. But let's quickly get into the analysis of the games we saw over the weekend. Coach, Hearts of Oak, started off the weekend not a very bright note. They struggled. They struggled a bit. We were expecting them to return to winning ways after that defeat to Kotoko.
I think I had all the positions right, apart from the Kotoko game, where I thought Kotoko had a bit advantage over Adriana, because they've never beat Kotoko. Alibaba has posted before. The only one against Kotoko away from Doma was the one they played at Accra Sports Stadium, where Samuel Bio scored and Kwesi Fabian. But Hearts of Oak, Swede All Blacks, I think that there was a lot of pressure on Fatty, the coach of All Blacks, from the supporters. We had them pushing for his sack if he do not win the game against Hasselhoff. And for me, the record of Hasselhoff this season away from home shows clearly that it was going to be difficult for All Blacks. Though Hasselhoff lost to Kumasi Asante Kotoko at Accra Sports Stadium. If you know Didi Dramani very well, he's very defensive, and sometimes when he scores a goal, it will be difficult for you to get back at him or probably equalize. The game against Brekum Chelsea away from home, against Baseke away from home, and how he played. Frustrating for him, his injured players, most of them are back, apart from Abdul Karim, who had knock also in the Kotoko game when he came on in the second half. But it was a game that I felt that one particular player showcased class. One particular player proved to everybody that, look, he is very good. I'm talking about Solomon Agbashi, the goalkeeper for Hasselhoff.
But Coach, please hold that thought for me. Let me pick one final reaction from Nigeria, and then we'll come back to talk about the best league in Africa. And let me get onto the lines. And welcome Favor Itua is a Nigerian sports journalist, and he's joining us to share his thoughts with us on everything that happened yesterday. Favor, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty Breakfast, live on Sporty 106.1 FM in Accra.
Yeah, good morning, Ghana. Good morning to you, and good morning to listeners.
Great. Favor, how are you feeling this morning, and how is Nigeria?
Well, we're trying to get the smiles on our faces, but it's difficult. I mean, I'm feeling sad. I know fully well that we anticipated that we had a lifeline to go to the World Cup, but apparently we didn't just do our job. And honestly speaking, the match finished about 10, almost 11 p.m. Nigerian time. I didn't sleep until 3 a.m. Nigerian time. That's to tell you how much of pain that the defeat brought to the faces of Nigeria, because of course a lot of us have planned, towards the World Cup, brands and sponsors looking at, getting, one or twos together, but it is what it is. I mean, the players failed on the night, the coach failed on the night, and will not be at the next World Cup in the US, Canada, Mexico.
Right. For Nigerians, I know you'll be very disappointed because for the first time since you qualified for the World Cup, you are missing back-to-back tournaments. Very disappointing. But what went wrong for Nigeria yesterday?
Well, I think first of all, the players didn't show that they wanted it at all. I mean, they came into the game maybe looking at DR Congo as a team that would easily go past because, of course, of what they did against Gabon. They felt it was going to be an easy walk in the park. And also for the coach, some of the players that started, did show signs of positivity. I have a feeling that you don't change a winning team. The winning formula against Gabon was alternated in the game against DR Congo. First off, Akko Adams did not start. Osimhen played alone up front. Then from the defense, Semi Ajayi was returned to the defense. Bright Osai was took out from the right-hand side. It means that, Semi Ajayi playing his first game in a long time for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. He was not available in the first game due to suspension. And then there were some key moments that would have changed the game, which the team obviously failed to do. When Victor Osimhen was injured, a lot of persons expected a like-for-like striker, maybe Tolu Arokodare coming up front, but Akko Adams was introduced, which, of course, he could not do what Osimhen has done. And he also showed again that Nigeria cannot play without Victor Osimhen, because if you look at the statistics, since the World Cup qualifiers started, every game Nigeria has failed to win did not have Victor Osimhen from the beginning of the qualifiers in 2023. The few times Osimhen played after he was, from injury, he got goals in those games. He scored 6 goals from early this year till the end of the year before the playoffs. That's to show you the impact of Victor Osimhen. And then the coach knew that the midfield was gone. In the second half, you could see that we didn't have any much of, balance and fluidity from the midfield. But guess what? The coach instead took out the midfielder and replaced the midfielder with a striker who, at the end of the day, removed the striker just before the penalty shootout. And you're asking yourself, what informed the formation? Demola Lookman has not been himself since last season. He barely had preseason games with Atalanta, and then he's been struggling with form. But Demola Lookman was on the field till God knows when. These are some of the key decisions. I think also I mean, instead of, I know, yes, some people want to say, oh, they were owed salaries before, now they were paid. I believe also that the players let themselves down. I mean, DR Congo, the rankings, Nigeria is 40 something in the world in the rankings. DR Congo is around 60. On paper, Nigeria quality, like for like, better than DR Congo. But DR Congo players showed courage, they showed character, and once again, they showed why they needed to go. And you have the penalty shootout, for crying out loud. DR Congo removed their keeper and brought in a goalkeeper. They seemed to feel that he would get, some saves for them. But guess what? We had a Trustekong, who happens to be our best penalty taker, was on the bench. And instead of him being introduced, Chidozie Awaziem was introduced. And at the end of the day, Chidozie Awaziem did not even get to play any of the penalties. So these are some of the key decisions and tactical areas I think Nigeria lost the game. I mean, they were overconfident on the day, and they seem to have forgotten that every game is a final. And, they approached the game, looking like they already won. And no wonder, you look at Wan-Bissaka for DR Congo, it's a wing back. But Wan-Bissaka was almost playing as a winger in that game. That's to show you how much of space he got, from the flanks. So these are some of the key areas I think Eric Chell did not, do well at for Nigeria. It shows once again that he got his job easy because of Osimhen. When Osimhen is not there, then the team struggles.
Right. Nigeria would have to prepare for another tournament in a month. Now, for Eric Chell, a lot of people have said, well, Nigeria's ability to even finish in that playoff spot was down to him. Is Eric Chell likely to stay with this team for a very long time, based on the reactions and what you possibly picked up in Nigeria?
Well, truth be told, we must not take anything away from him. I mean, he did a good job so far. Yes, there's some particular occasions you expect him to do better. But also, I've also caught the Nigerian coaches some slack. The ones who started the qualifier. Jose Peseiro started the qualifier for Nigeria. Finidi George came in at some point in time. Both coaches did not have Victor Osimhen. When you check the matches they played without Victor Osimhen, compare with the matches that Eric Chell played with Victor Osimhen, I'm trying to tell you the impact of Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen makes the job of a coach quite easier than when he's not in the team. I mean, because of what he brings. When the passes are not coming in, you see how rugged he can be, how he wants to get the ball, how he also wants to glide through defenders and get the goals. That is what Victor Osimhen offers. Now, with what he has done so far, I don't think he will be asked to step aside. He will still probably tinker the side at the AFCON in Morocco. But then, yes, a big statement, or there's something I expect from him. I mean, he should be able to look at his squad and ask himself, these players he has at the moment, can they get the job done in Morocco? Some of these players are already worn out from the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I can't remember the last time Chukwueze gave us a consistent performance for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. That's Samuel Chukwueze. And most of the players in Nigeria, some of them are not even starters in their respective clubs, apart from maybe the likes of Stanley Wabadi for Chippa United, Victor Osimhen for Galatasaray, Calvin Bassey for Fulham, Iwobi for Fulham, and some of the players. And many of them are bench warmers and barely get game times in their respective clubs. Yes, they might be quality players, but I think that these are some of the things that affects them. Atalanta has a new coach at the moment. Will Lookman get his form back before AFCON? Just less than how many weeks to AFCON? 5 weeks to AFCON. So these are some of the things we need to be asking ourselves. In as much as this has happened, are we ready to move on? Are we ready to make these changes? I mean, you can see what Ghana did when they had an abysmal AFCON last time around. They were able to rejig the side, and then we saw how they qualified for the World Cup. At this present World Cup. So we need to take drastic measures. Some players would have to sit out, the team, and some players would have to take their respect. Should not be because they are senior players or they've stayed longer in the team. They can play 90 minutes. When the player is not giving you what he wants, you should be able to take him off. I mean, we saw that happen with Ndidi. Ndidi for 90 minutes had not business playing 90 minutes in that game, but I don't know, maybe because he was the captain of the side, or Eric Chell felt, you just stay on. I mean, we have a Rafael Oyedika who plays very well, plays in the Champions League for his club side, Club Brugge in Belgium, but he did not have a minute in 240 minutes played by Eric Chell. So these are some of the angles we need to look at. Yes, he will tinker the side to the AFCON, but then does he have the firepower? Does he have the inner capabilities to deliver a medal for Nigeria or even the trophy at AFCON, that's $1 million question. But it's really sad. An extended tournament in US, Canada, Mexico, and Nigeria will not be part of the countries that would hoist their flag in 2026.
Now, Favor, let's talk about the AFCON. Definitely, there'll be a lot of pressure on the Nigerians because last time out, they finished second. They managed to get to the finals. Do you see this Nigerian team possibly coming out of the blocks and trying to win this trophy to appease the fans and possibly compensate them for the World Cup miss? Is that a realistic dream to look at?
Well, I would tell anybody that wants to listen at the moment, AFCON is a different mind and a different ball game. Now, when you play in AFCON, you just need to play your best 6 games or 7 games, as the case may be, to get to the finals. Sometimes you don't need to play very well, just get the result. I mean, we saw how the Super Eagles got to the finals in Cote d'Ivoire. I mean, they were playing defensive, but they kept getting the result until they got to the finals against Cote d'Ivoire. And somehow, Cote d'Ivoire, who did not get a win against Nigeria in the group stage, somehow found their way against Nigeria in the finals. So you just need to, be at your best form, pray for luck to smile on you, and pray that your opponents will not be in their good form on the day. I tell people that it's quite, AFCON is not, the very best of players that win the AFCON. It's determination. It's how you play, and working your modalities. You're working your team to ensure that they have a good structure. For Nigeria, I think they want to look at the AFCON as a way of compensating for not being at the World Cup. Now the question is, can they dot the I's and cross the T's? They're coming up against some teams who have had good run of form. Morocco is there. There's Senegal. There is also Ghana. There is also, Ivory Coast, defending champions. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all when they get to the tournament. And then I also think that one team might also work for them. Maybe when they get to Morocco, they've also tested what Morocco will be like before the AFCON. I mean, they play 2 playoffs matches in Morocco. It means that they've acclimatized to the weather. They already know what to expect in December. So this might just actually work for them. But I think they're still favorites to go far. We know a team that has Osimhen, a team that has the likes of Lookman and others will definitely pose a threat. But trust me, most coaches that will be coming to the AFCON will know that for you to be the Super Eagles of Nigeria, just ensure that you take out Victor Osimhen and you ensure he is not, available in the game. That's just one of the ways. But then again, it's difficult to also mark him out. SM maybe he's injured. So these are some of the things I think would play out in the AFCON. But Nigeria will definitely want to go far and go all the way. It's just about how they approach each of these games where the tournament starts.
Right, Favor, let me say a big thank you to you for joining us on the show this morning. We Ghanaians are sad for you. We are sad you couldn't make it.
Well, I know Ghana will make an appearance, but the question is, can they go past the group stage? They have a last bus stop, so let them go. Remember what happened in Qatar? I mean, all the razzmatazz and all these songs.
Favor, you are not wishing as well.
Well, I'm saying that it's exciting to see you're going to the World Cup. Yes, it's good, but we all know that yes, Ghana did it in 2010 when they got to the knockout stages. Then Morocco went a bit further in the last World Cup. Let's see if Ghana has a lot on them to go all the way up. Maybe we can also serve them some Nigerian jollof to push them all the way to success. Well, all the same, we'll see if they are ready through the AFCON.
Just give us Osimhen, Favor. We wish you well, and we hope that Nigeria deliver the AFCON, possibly to appease the fans for their World Cup failure. So we wish you well and have a good week. Right. That was Favor Itua. He's a Nigerian journalist joining us this morning on the show. He is very disappointed because, he says they have brands ready, they have sponsors ready, they want to go to the World Cup and do something. But Charlie, it's not happening. Well, we'll see how things pan out for the Super Eagles when they finally make a move at the AFCON. Possibly that could be the last silver where they could be dreaming of this year. So we'll see how things pan out for them. But let's still stay in Morocco because Nathan has joined us on the line. He'll be taking us through everything that happened yesterday at the Prince Moulay Hassan Stadium in Morocco. Yesterday was one of those nights where almost every Nigerian in that stadium would be heartbroken because And there was an opportunity to go to Canada, USA, and Mexico. And for Nigerians, we all know how much they love to be there, But let's get onto the lines, and then we'll speak with Nathan Kwao, who will be joining us right from inside Morocco. He's in Rabat at the moment. Nathan, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty Breakfast.
Hello, Raymond. Good morning. How are you guys?
Great. We are doing well. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm okay. It was a very long Sunday into Monday. I slept a couple of hours ago, so you can imagine it's been really intense, it's all good.
Great. Yesterday you were on the ground. You were in that stadium. I mean, take us to the pre-game. What was pre-game? What was happening? What happened in game? I'm sure we all saw what happened in game. I mean, just take us to a bit of the news behind the news before the game and as the game went on. What was going on?
Okay, so my day and for journalists, our day started relatively early. It was early in the afternoon, so we went to the Nigeria team hotel for the regular team walk. So they left the hotel, went around the hotel, the Rive Hotel. So the other day when they did the teamwork, they went in a particular direction. This time they went in the opposite direction and all of that. And they came back. So, I mean, in our minds, everything was cool. Teamwork was done. Eventually got to the stadium at about 5:30 or so. Everything was regular. And then warm-ups began. And then the team sheets came. And we quickly noticed that some changes had been made. So William Chustekong was still on the bench, and then some changes were made. Samuel Chukwueze was brought on, and then there was another change. I can't seem to remember which particular change it was. But then the Nigerians made changes to the starting 11, 2 changes in all, and then the game started. And they got that goal. So again, just to paint the picture, for our listeners, for somebody who couldn't watch the game or hasn't seen any bit of the game, the Nigerians played from right to left. The Congolese played from left to right. The Congolese were behind the Nigerian goal when the game started, and then the Nigerians were behind the Congolese goal, right? And then in the second half, they swapped. But talking about the game, Nigeria started very well. They scored the first goal very early in the game. And at that point, everybody, and I was with some Congolese journalists, and at that time, they looked quite sad, but they said, listen, it's early, so maybe they'll come back into the game. And then Nigeria kept pushing and kept pushing. The first 30-35 minutes belonged to Nigeria. They were good value for their lead. And maybe they should have tried to consolidate that lead. And then halftime came. So, Nigeria are 1-up, Congo are pushing. I think at halftime it was 1-1. So the first 30-35 minutes belonged to Nigeria. And then the Congolese fight back, they equalize. Okay, they've done so. Nigeria committed bodies forward. Congo were able to stop the ball in transition. And then they kind of caught Nigeria out in a bit of a mini break, and then they go and get the equalizer. Granted, 1-1 happens. And then the second half starts. So when the second half starts, and we are all watching, and just like me, it took a lot of people time to realize what had happened. So Victor Osimhen did not come out for that second half. And it took me a while to realize, even though the changes had been made, sometimes in the flow of the game, you watch the game, but you fail to pick up certain details. Well, that's what happened to me. I failed to spot that Victor Osimhen had been substituted. So after about 10 minutes, that's when I noticed he wasn't on the pitch. And then I quickly told the Congolese journalist next to me that, has he noticed Osimhen is not around? He said yes. He noticed that at the start of the second half, he didn't come out for the half, and the Nigerians had made changes. Now, at that point of the game, you could tell that the Congolese were beginning to build confidence. From like 60-65 minutes onwards, it was all DRC. It was all DRC. They were pressing better, they were attacking better, they were growing into confidence. The nerves were no longer there. And if any team was going to find the goal, the longer the game played out, it looked like it was going to be DRC. They actually scored twice. Both goals were chalked off for fouls on the goalkeeper. The first one, very glaring. The second one, slightly controversial, but you can understand why that foul was given. You don't expect a referee not to give a foul when a player's foot is high and is going at a goalkeeper, even though when you watch it again, Nwabali did not really take contact from the player. In that position, no referee or no official will not give any goalkeeper that decision. So that's what happened. So I felt those were two warning signs. The Congolese tried. And funny enough, there was an opportunity somewhere for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and instead of standing on his feet and going for a header, he tried the spectacular. He tried going for a bicycle kick, and he missed it completely. And I found that a little hilarious, that why would Aaron Wan-Bissaka attempt something like that? But yes, he tried, right? And then it went on and on and on and on and on. And then we went into extra time. I mean, at that point, I just kind of felt that this game would end up in the shootout, because even though the Congolese were pushing, you could see that they were lacking something. They were lacking a bit of cutting edge. By that time, a change had been made. Bakambu was out, a long time ago. Fiston Maele had been brought on. He had energy. He was pressing, but the Congolese were just not able to find the final pass or make the final decision to put them into a place of an advantage. And then eventually it went into the shootout. So what a lot of people do not see or did not see was that the shootout was played in front of the Nigerian fans. So as soon as they noticed that the shootout was coming to them, they started cheering, they started making a lot of noise. The Congolese were equally noisy. And then the shootout started. So depending on who missed, you got a lot of noise coming from that side, right? So when Calvin Bassey missed, the Congolese went crazy. When they missed, the Nigerians were happy, and it went back and forth, until the Nigerians missed that decisive kick, and that allowed Chancel Mbemba. So when the Nigerians missed at 3-3, and Chancel Mbemba was going to play his kick, the Congolese journalist next, so I was flanked by Congolese journalists, some to my left, some to my right. The gentleman to my right was so excited, and he kept saying, in French, he was telling his colleagues that this is our time. God is with us. God has destined for us to be at the World Cup. And it is Chancel Mbemba who will score that winning penalty. And Chancel Mbemba did score that winning penalty. Now, as all of this was happening, at a point in the shootout, and Eric Shell made a reference to this, and maybe we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there was some confusion between the two benches, right? You could see Victor Osimhen going around the line of Nigerian players and officials on the side, going towards the Congolese, pointing his finger at them, visibly upset about something. And the Congolese were also responding. They were asking Victor Osimhen to go back. And it was a bit of a shouting match as it was happening. At that time, nobody knew what was going on, right? We all thought it was one of those things. And then we decided to concentrate on the shootout. And so it came down to Chancel Mbemba, 101 caps on the day. And on the day before the game started, he was awarded, giving a bit of a plaque to, mark the occasion, 101 appearances for the Congolese national team. And then days after scoring the header to eliminate Cameroon, he goes to score the penalty that sends DRC to the Intercontinental playoff. So those were the matters on the pitch. And then we went for press conference. You can imagine the Congolese were cool, they were happy. The Nigerians, not too much. Yeah. And then we went to the mixed zone. And that's the longest I've had to wait in the mixed zone in my life as a journalist. The Nigerians, it took them a while to come out. It took the Congolese even longer to come out. By the time the Congolese came out, it was way after midnight.
Wow.
But when they came out, they were dancing. They had their boombox, large stereo with them, and they were jumping up and down. They were dancing and all of that. Most of them did not speak to us, but Arthur Masuaku did. Noah Sadiki of Sunderland also did. So the two Sunderland players came to speak to journalists. Aaron Wan-Bissaka didn't speak to us. He left, but That's so, and then after I managed to gather some reporters, and then we did an episode of the Sporty podcast, which will be out in a few hours. A very interesting podcast recorded in the mix zone area, capturing the thoughts of some journalists who were there after the 3-4 day football fiesta have come to an end.
Right, Nathan. Let's go back into the game and let's do a bit of analysis for the Nigerians. What went wrong in the game? Was it Osimhen's exit, or other things just didn't fall in place for them? And let's talk about the penalty shootout as well, because Bassett took that first kick and it was almost as if these were amateurs taking penalty kicks. What went wrong there as well?
Let's start from the very top. You asked what was wrong. Two things. 70% of what went wrong was Victor Osimhen. Not that he had a bad day, but the simple fact that he was absent in that second half, it really hurt Nigeria, and it really, really took the stuffing out of them. I could not believe that Nigeria were blunt. Let me put it this way: they were really blunt without Osimhen. Nothing of theirs worked, and they were now forced to go long. And it was down to another reason, right? The second part of that answer, it lies in some of Eric Sheld's decision. For example, he took off Alex Iwobi and Ademola Lookman. Look, granted, you can make an argument and say that they were not having a huge influence on the game. But what you never do is take off some of your best technical players, right? You never take off some of your best technical players who can get onto the ball and make things happen. You need to have more of those players, or at least one of those players around, so that when the moment comes, they'll be able to give you something. Eric Shell took off all of those players. He went with a lot of pace, right? Changed the attacking line. Aroko Dare came on, Akko Adams came on, and all of that. So now the Nigerians were forced to go long. They couldn't play through the middle anymore. And going long always has its disadvantages, because if you don't win the first and second balls, your opponent gets it and they have a run at you. And that's what the Congolese were doing. They were always picking up either the first or second balls, and they were playing through the sides, especially through the middle. They were a problem. And as I said, they grew into confidence, and you could tell that Nigeria needed to find something, and ultimately they couldn't. They paid the price in the shootout. You ask about the penalty shootout, and even lots of Nigerians were puzzled by the decisions or the order of the kickers, right? Because why would Calvin Bassey take the very first kick in a penalty shootout? I mean, some people argue and say that if it's William Troost-Ekong, that is fine. He is very consummate at that. But why Calvin Bassey? Why not some other player? Why not start with somebody else, right? And so the decision really puzzled a lot of Nigerian journalists, and that really came down to some of the decisions taken by Eric Shaw. But more importantly, I mean, if you are Calvin Bassey, it doesn't matter whether you are good at the kicks or not. You have to put that penalty away in a pressure situation. When you know what is at stake and what is on the table, you have to execute properly. And I thought that kick was poorly taken, and it set the tone for Nigeria as eventually they missed out. But the Congolese also did something really smart. They changed their goalkeeper. Yeah. With a minute left to the end of extra time, they swapped their goalkeeper in there. And in post-game, I was asking some of the Congolese journalists, and they said, this second goalkeeper is really good at penalties. So for Sebastian Desabre, it was a gamble, and it paid off ultimately. He was brave to try it, and then he got rewarded.
Wow. Well, Nathan, let's again talk about what happened in game. A lot of people believe the Nigerians were a bit complacent. Did you get a feeling that the Nigerians possibly underrated the Congolese going into this game because they had done what they would consider maybe a tougher job against the Gabonese? Did you sense a bit of complacency on the side of the Nigerians going into the game?
No, for me it was rather a bit of caution. I remember when the Congolese qualified, and I was with two Nigerians the night they qualified. We were going on a food hunting adventure, which was very unsuccessful, I might add. This, when it became clear that it was DRC, everybody I spoke to admitted that DRC were slightly awkward opponents, because what DRC was going to do was to stay solid in a defensive way, and that would mean Nigeria would have to break them down. And this Nigerian team is not too adept at doing that currently. This Nigerian team is great at playing back and forth football with teams when there's space behind, they can do so. Because of the attacking talent, they have Osimhen and the likes. And for a player like Osimhen, he's a great chaser of attempts, of crosses. When you play it long, he goes outside. He never stops pressing defenders and all. So I don't think they underrated the Congolese. I think getting that early goal probably must have told Nigeria that, okay, so they have one goal, that is good. Maybe they can try and manage and see if they can get a second. Their mistake was, one, not being able to find a second to close the game out quickly, and two, which was really no fault of theirs, losing Osimhen. But even that, when you lose Osimhen, from a coaching perspective, what are you supposed to do? You have to look at what you have and guide the team based on the resources, guide the team based on the talent available, and make sure you have a way of crossing the line. And I don't think Eric Shell did. It wasn't a matter of the system being bad. I think it was just a matter of the choices he made in terms of players,
right,
in terms of who came on, in terms of who he took off. Those decisions really were slightly off. The changes he made, especially concerning Ademola Lookman and Alex Iwobi, all in the same range. You are taking them off almost all at the same time. I don't know why he did, but it eventually cost the team because the system broke down, and now Nigeria had to now be going back to front, going long, and it did not help them at all. It really didn't help them. So it wasn't a matter of players did not put in their best. I think it was just Eric Shell's decision in terms of personnel as the game wore on that really affected the Nigerians. And once it got to the shootout, you put it, you do your work, you practice, you do your research, and players have to execute. And players did not execute on the day.
Right, Nathan, would come to Eric Shell in a bit because there's a very interesting matter you have to speak about. But can you confirm for us, was Osimhen taken out because he was injured? Because it seems a lot of people believe maybe Osimhen wasn't injured, maybe it was one of Eric Shell's tactical decisions. Was he really injured?
Okay, so we did ask Eric Shell, and he said yes, Osimhen was injured. He said he had an injury in the leg. He didn't state which part of the leg. Now, the reason why I accept that explanation was that as the game wore on, Osimhen was standing by the touchline. But as he kept moving up and down on the touchline, there was a very clear limp. It wasn't the strongest of limps, but you could see that Osimhen was limping on one foot. And for me, that kind of corroborates what Eric Shell said, that Osimhen had picked up an injury. He was limping as he was going back and forth. And even when he went towards the Congolese during the penalty shootout, there was a very obvious limp. It's not the biggest or a heavy limp, but it was there. You could tell that he was limping. And that corroborates what Eric Shell said, that Osimhen had picked up an injury.
Right. Post-game, Eric Shell was speaking about the Congolese using voodoo during the penalty shootout. You were there. You saw the action. Exactly what was happening during the penalty shootout in both technical areas.
Okay, so in a penalty shootout, both teams will line up on the sidelines, and then those who are playing are in the center circle. So I think it was before or during the kick, because I noticed the confusion during the shootout. Now, the accusation was that the Congolese, as you said, they were doing voodoo, or to borrow Eric Shell's French word, maraboutage. Now, if you break the two words down, now the word marabout in French means a fetish priest or a voodoo priest or somebody who dabbles in the dark arts or black magic. So that's a marabout. That's the person who does it. Now, if you coin the noun out of it, maraboutage, it just means that sorcery or juju or voodoo. So that's what he was accusing them of. Now, what happened? Before the shootout, a Congolese official poured water on the pitch, right? He came to pour let me not say water, something that looked like water, a clear liquid, and he poured that on the pitch. Now, I don't know whether this person kept pouring it during the shootout. I cannot confirm. What I can confirm is that during the shootout, you had Osimhen and the Nigerian group versus the Congolese group, and they were shouting at each other. But what I do know is that before the shootout, this person was pouring out a clear liquid onto the pitch. Clearly, it upset Eric Shen, and he was saying that that's what the Congolese were involved in, and he wasn't happy with that. So when he came to the press conference and he finished, nobody had asked him that. And he said, I'm surprised journalists have not asked me what happened. And so people asked him, we told him that, well, we asked Sebastian Desabre whether he saw the confusion happening between the two sides. Desabre said he didn't see it and that he thinks it was nothing. And Eric Shell said, well, it was because the Congolese were involved in what he termed maraboutage, or they were doing juju or voodoo. That is why there was that confusion. And he repeated it in the mix zone. He said it there in the mix zone. So that's the story. He clearly wasn't happy with something the Congolese were doing, and he felt that it gave them a supernatural edge, quote unquote, and that allowed them to win the penalty shootout. Quite an interesting argument from Eric Shaw, but that's his argument. You can't fault the man for believing that also played a part. But that is what he accused the Congolese of doing.
Yeah, Nathan. Okay, well, let's get into a bit of what Shell said in that press conference. What next for this Nigerian team, and how does he now fix Nigeria's seemingly over-reliance on Victor Osimhen? How does he deal with that going into a major tournament like the AFCON? What did he say about all of that? And what does he think is going to happen to this team as they seek to get back to the top of African football?
Well, concerning the AFCON, he sees it as an opportunity for this team to bounce back and rewrite the wrongs of failing to make the World Cup. Fortunately, some people even think, unfortunately, the AFCON is barely a month away. So some people think that the emotion of not going to the World Cup, is quite raw, quite fresh. The team won't have enough time to get it out of their system. Some people think it's a good thing. They quickly return to Morocco in a few weeks, and then they play. What is sure is that by not going to the World Cup, the pressure on the Nigerian team is now up another 50%, because now they will have to win the AFCON. For some fans, it may not be enough to take away the pain of not going to the World Cup, but they will have to perform. You asked a question about the over-reliance on Osimhen, and that's a huge one. Eric Shaw hasn't really said much about it. He believes that the team has enough quality, and when they return to the AFCON in a few weeks, they'll be able to do what they must do as a team. We speak with Nigerian journalists, and they also admit that this team can't seem to play without Osimhen. They need to find a fix for that. William Troost-Ekong in the mix zone did say that the team, again, he repeated Eric Shaw's point about the team having talent and that the AFCON is just a few weeks away. So they will use that to reset and repair whatever is fixed. But, I think when everything settles, Eric Shaw will have to think a lot about what he does with this team. Without Victor Osimhen. When you look at Nigeria's last AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, Osimhen didn't score a lot. He eventually became the Ademola Lookman AFCON, and he got them to the final. So I guess the hope is that other players will also rise to the occasion, will also be able to step up and take up the responsibility of getting goals for the Super Eagles team and helping them in matches. The players have got a lot to do, and when everything settles, players will have to think about their outputs. Ademola Lookman is an example. He didn't really play well in these 2 games in the playoff. We'll have to think about what he can do to help the team. Akko Adams scored in 1 goal, or scored in 1 game. He didn't score the other. These are options that Nigeria will have to look at. Samuel Chukwueze, for example. So all these guys individually will also have to learn to step up to the plate and deliver and give something to this Nigerian team. As for Osimhen, once he's fit, he will play. So you almost unconsciously think of him and defer to him. But I think other players will also have to take up the responsibility. And Eric Shaw will have to find ways of getting the best out of these guys when they return to Morocco in a few weeks for the AFCON.
Right. Nathan, we've not spoken much about the Congolese, but what was the mood in camp after the game, and what has Desailly been saying about his victorious team?
Well, the mood, I can tell you, and yesterday you saw the videos from the stadium. I'm sure they shared it on our social. Maybe they might put it up whilst I'm speaking. The fans were excited. Wow. Raymond, you should have been there to see the energy from the fans when the winning penalty went in. And the players themselves were equally excited. I was talking about when they came out through the mix zone with their large Bluetooth speaker, jamming up and down to some great Congolese music. But away from that, Sebastian Desailly, in the post-match press conference, he was happy, but he admitted that a lot of work needed to be done between now and the AFCON, because for him, the AFCON serves as a great way to prepare for the intercontinental playoff. He believes that they've been given an opportunity to play in the AFCON. They want to do well, but more importantly, they want to go into that playoff in very, very good form. I think it will be the first international break of 2026, and then hopefully they go and deliver in Mexico. And he did indicate that it's not been an easy journey. They've played 12 matches in all, through the qualifiers, through these playoffs. Now they are going to an AFCON. But he was happy with what the team had achieved. He was really happy with what they had done. He praised the players, thanked the officials of the GRC Football Federation for their support. And he did say that they were looking forward to this. One journalist asked him that the last time Congo GRC were at the World Cup was in 1974, and they went under the name Zaire, and they went into it as African champions. Can this team win the AFCON? Do they want to go into the competition as African champions? And Desailly's response was that, look, they want to do well at the AFCON. It's imperative that they go into the AFCON and go as far as they can, and then they'll use that energy to go into the 2026 Intercontinental Playoff. And I think it was it Desailly or Noah Sadiki, one of them? And yes, it was Noah Sadiki. After the game, Noah Sadiki said that he was asked whether Osimhen's absence helped the team. And Arthur Masuaku also responded to the same question. And both of them did admit that Osimhen not being on the pitch helped matters, because now they could easily get the ball and play out of the back because Osimhen's pressing was absent. They had time on the ball now. They could now venture. The defensive line could move a little up. Players could now carry the ball into midfield and all. Right? And hearing that, it left me impressed by Osimhen, but at the same time, it left me really sad. Sad in the sense that how come a team like Nigeria will have only one player in attack who can do that kind of thing? And it took me back to Eric Shell and the decisions he has to really make concerning the Nigerian team. But the Congolese were excited. They were very excited about what they had done, what they had achieved. They kept praising their substitute goalkeeper. The belief was there. They believed that once he was in the post, they would always have a chance. And I asked Noah Sadiki that were they concerned that they had missed the first kick? And he said no. He said players miss kicks all the time, and it's a shootout. They had 4 kicks left. Once they missed one, it wasn't the end of the world. They believed that they would come out on the right side of the result, and ultimately they did. They did. They are the ones going to the Intercontinental Playoffs at the expense of the Nigerian Super Eagles.
Right, Nathan. Let me say a big thank you to you for joining us. Great job you've done out there. And I'm sure there's still a lot of news behind the news you have to deliver when you come in. So hopefully would have you back. Would have you back on the show for you to give us, the news behind the news. As Immortal will say. There's still a lot. Because the juju story, you have to give us more angles. You have to.
Yes, I will get you more interesting angles, and I'll tell you about the beautiful country of
Morocco.
Of Morocco.
Fantastic.
Right? And what they are doing in terms of football development, football infrastructure, what they want to achieve. It's an amazing thing. I hope you get to experience, and I'm sure you get to experience it one of these days.
Yeah.
What they are doing just to get the country ready for the AFCON, but the bigger picture really of how they think about sports and sports development and sports infrastructure. It's a very interesting country.
I hope you enjoyed yourself last night with the Congolese supporters.
Not really, no. By the time I left the stadium, everybody had gone home because of journalism duties, but it's all good. That's why we do this job. We do this job to make the listeners and viewers happy, so that's okay. If I run into any Congolese fans today, I'm sure they'll still be excited and I'll have a conversation.
You know what I like, so when you're coming, bring me what I like. Or you want me to come to Morocco?
If you can, why not?
Do they have what I like? Do they have what I like there?
Do they have what you like? Well, they do. Maybe not exactly, but they do.
Thank you.
We can discuss that.
Thank you, Nathan. Nathan, safe journey back home. I'm sure. We'll be back on there to do more to dissect a few of the issues more when you return. I wish you a safe travel back and have a good day as well. Right. That was my wingman, Nathan Kwao, joining us all the way from Morocco with updates on that game we saw yesterday between DRC and Nigeria. And as we all know, Nigeria failed to take advantage of the second chance to keep their hopes of qualifying to next year's World Cup alive. And we wish them well as they seek to conquer Africa at the Africa Cup of Nations. Morocco will be waiting for them. Yeah. We'll be waiting for him over here. Yes, so, Coach, just like I was saying, results from match day 10, Ghana Premier League, Bechem United 2, Samatek 0, Brekum Chelsea 2, Nations FC 1, BBN Gold Stars 1, Karela 0, Dreams FC 1, Hoho United 0, 11 Wonders 1, Midiama 2, Hearts of Lions 2, Young Apostles 0, Holy Stars 2, Vision FC 2, and then Kotoko Adriana played out a 1-1 draw. Coach, you were speaking about the Hearts of Oak Swedwell Black game.
It was a good game. I mean, I was wondering how Swedwell supporters were thinking that Hearts of Oak were just going to be run over, and probably they never checked the records of Hearts of Oak this season away from home. But I believe that with the absence of Benjamin Asare, Hearts of Oak have got an equally good goalkeeper in the person of Solomon Agbashi, former of Dreams FC. You know, I've always said that, look, Dreams FC getting into the semi-finals of the Confederation Cup the last time, it was Solomon Agbashi.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
if you had really watched that game against Zamalek in Egypt, he stood between defeat and then Zamalek victory for Dreams FC until he got injured. He was one of the best, if not the best, in the country. Solomon Agbashi has always been fantastic for Dreams FC when he was with them. And I always say that, look, the Hearts of Oak fans that went to Swedru yesterday, they didn't know Solomon Agbashi. Mm-hmm. They didn't follow him when he was with Dreams FC. But I think that what they saw yesterday, or what they witnessed yesterday, they are convinced that, look, he getting the opportunity to be in post of House of Folk, Benjamin Asare will suffer. He is a very good goalkeeper. And for me, I've said that, look, the House of Folk faithfuls have to thank Coach Abubakar Ouattara, because he's one person who pushed for the services of Solomon Agbashi. Though he was injured, he knew what the boy could offer House of Folk. That is why he pushed for him. But it was a game where I think that, look, the Swedro All Blacks had a lot of opportunities that they could have gone ahead to score. But thanks for Solomon Agbashi imposed for House of Folk. It was fantastic yesterday. No wonder the House of Folk faithfuls were all over the place, were all on him, and even forgot that they have a goalkeeper in the person of Benjamin Asare, who is now the Black Stars' #1 goalkeeper. Yeah, there were moments in the game that I felt that House of Folk also could have at least scored a goal. Hamza Issa, for me, he has not improved. His first season in House of Folk, he scored about 8 goals from Aruras to the senior team. And then since then, he has been on and off. I mean, House fans felt that under Coach Abubakar Ouattara, he was not improving. But under Didi, he started very well. But I think he's gone off again. Because there's opportunities that, as a striker as he is, and a bit experience in the Ghana Premier League, he should be able to finish it. But I think the House of Folk did very well. They've proven that, look, playing away from home, they're better playing at home. And for me, it was a very good game. But the Swedro fans that are calling for the head of the coach, I don't think the management will send him away. So the supporters, the ladies group who are talking about tomorrow's training, if the coach appears, they are going to go naked and all that. Then I can assure them that they will definitely go naked, because the coach is not going anywhere.
Wait. Let's go back to that one again. No, which ladies are those?
The Swedro Brass ladies group. I mean, there's a video out.
No, what are they saying?
They say that if the coach stays tomorrow's training, they will be there naked for the coach to see them. They want to demonstrate nakedly.
Oh, but it will be nice.
What I'm saying is that if they are really serious, they should go and do that, because the coach is not going anywhere. And looking at the game that they themselves witnessed yesterday, they were playing House of Folk.
Yeah.
This season, House of Folk has improved, and they will testify to that. Look, House of Folk has not lost a game until Kotoko beat them.
That's correct.
They've been a solid side.
Yeah.
If they've watched the game against Brekum Chelsea, though All Blacks beat Chelsea 3-0 at home, it's not House of Folk. They're at home when Gold Stars came to beat them. They couldn't even beat Heart of Lions. When Heart of Lions, they have to struggle to come back to equalize. So for me, I think that it is just a mere talk. I think that the team played well yesterday. It's a matter of day congratulating House of Folk goalkeeper, because he stood between victory for All Blacks and House of Folk conceding. And he was fantastic. For me, I wonder why he couldn't win the MVP yesterday. He was on top. That is why I'm calling on the House of Folk technical team to be able to manage him, and then Benjamin Asare. Because if Benjamin Asare is in today, I don't think House of Folk are going to put him on the bench based on his position at the Black Stars, and I don't think that they will put him on the bench to start Solomon Agbashi. Solomon Agbashi deserves more playing time, and Ghanaians will see the goodness in Solomon Agbashi. At the point, House of Folk were having Samir J, James Nano, and then Eben Dida. They're all national team goalkeepers, but they were able to manage them for them to be active in House of Folk goal posts. So for me, I think that Agbashi has come to stay, and for me, a competition for Benjamin Asare. We are looking up to the House of Folk technical team, especially the goalkeepers trainer, Najau Isa, to see how. But it was a very good game as well, Drew. I think that the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, I realized that the moment I saw the Kotoko lineup, I realized that Adriana were going to dominate.
Yeah, that's
on Friday, I told you that it's going to be a difficult game.
Top lineup.
I think that Kotoko had a slight advantage over Adriana, because Adriana has never beat Kotoko in Kumasi before. The only game that they won against Kotoko was in Accra, where Pakwesi Fiben led them, goal scored by Samuel Bill at Accra Sports. Adriana has struggled. Even last season, Kotoko gave them back-to-back wins. And for me, I think that Adriana has developed very well under Choba Aristika's second coming. The 3 players in midfield, Ajimai, you talk of Maxwell Atta has played for Dream City for so many years. He played in their Division 2. All matches qualified them to the Division 1. And CK Akono and Coach Henry Wellington. And then for him to move from the right wing back to a midfield position by Karim Zito, he went to Karela. The experience that this young man has in the midfield of Adriana has really helped them. And then the enterprising Seydou Sana, the chap with the 8 JC, he did dominated Kotoko for 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was surprised Zito and his technical team didn't notice that until the 35 minutes before they introduced Baba Yaya, because there wasn't any creativity in Kotoko midfield. But I believe that the referee denied Adriana a penalty, a clear penalty. they were denied a clear penalty where Patrick Asiedu fouled Meshach Efriye in a penalty area. If it had been other part of the field, the referee would have also for a foul. So it was a clear foul. He should have taken a penalty for Adriana, but they were denied. Asiedu and Meshach were all in Brekum jerseys, so they know each other very well. But I think Adriana put all their energy in the first 30 minutes. I'm sure they had wanted to finish the game. And Kotoko were just giving out all the 50-50 balls. The second balls, Hilary Adabu, Samba O'Neill, and of course Samuel Tenedu. I was not surprised when Samuel Tenedu was pulled out and Baba Yaya came on. Kotoko also dominated the last 10 minutes of the first half, where they get the equalizer from the very good strike from Lonamo at the right back. It was a good game. In the second half, there were changes in both teams, and I think that it went 50-50 in that department. But I think that the Adriana doesn't deserve a point. They deserve all the 3 points. And I think that Ablos should have been sent off the field. I mean, especially when he has already received a yellow card. I mean, he went in after the referee has whistled for a foul. Though, whether it was an accident or not an accident, I think it was a dangerous tackle on the Adriana player in midfield, so that he should have given a second yellow card so that he would have been sent off. But on the whole, I think that the game was very beautiful. They played very well. Adriana have done very well. If you really want to win a Ghana Premier League, you need good goalkeepers. Kotoko, the days of the late Sulama, Isaac Amoakon, Felix Annan, Kotoko won the league under Maxwell Kunodu Didi Drama. They have a very good goalkeeper. But if you're looking at the performance of Kamara and then Aziz Dari, I mean, a goalkeeper with a direct shot, if you know you cannot handle it, you send it wide. You don't send it back for a rebound. And that is what happened for Adriana's first goal. When Sanas strike from 15 yards and then he couldn't handle it. It didn't happen to them again. The diamonds of the game, when another strike, he couldn't send the ball wide, but he came to a rebound. But thanks to Henry Ensu, who was able to block the player, and then the goalkeeper had the ball again. So for me, it was a good game in Kumasi. I told you that nations will suffer at Brekum Chelsea. Yeah. I was surprised to see Frimpong Maso at the Swag Awards night on Saturday night. And I was asking myself, you are playing on Sunday
game, yeah, from
Brekum. Our transportation system is very poor. That you will not finish the game. Probably you may not get a train or flight to Sunyani on Saturday. Probably on Sunday morning. How psychologically are you going to be ready? Because unfortunately for you, you didn't win that award. Because Sepia won, the best coach. So I knew they were going to struggle. Under Samuel Boadu, who has won 2 games out of the 9 games before yesterday's game. I mean, they were able to win the game. I mean, Kwesi Soroto in Mayfield. I'm happy for that young man. He's been invited to the local blast. And you know they are going to camp today at Swedru. So for me, 30 players has been invited. So it was a very good game. But Frimpong Maso, 3rd game for Nations FC, and he's yet to win a game. It's a big worry. His next game is against his former club, the team that he led to win the Ghana Premier League last season, Bibiani Gold Stars. And after that game, he's coming to play House of Folk. And it's a big one. I think the Ghana Premier League has been fantastic so far. Heart of Lions, I've told you, a team to beat Heart of Lions at Kwando, it will take a miracle. Because they are the only consistent team in the Ghana Premier League. Looking at their technical team.
What is in Kwando?
The point is that their consistency in terms of the technical team and the playing body has been fantastic the last 2.5 seasons. Apart from Mustafa Yakubu, Abednego Tete, and then Kwesipon, the rest of the squad has been together. Look at their back 5. The goalkeeper in the back line. I mean, Yao Danso at the right back. If you pick 3 right backs, he's one of them. Left back, Bismarck and him, super, from former player of Mighty Jets. Look at Ruby Henderson and then Ebenezer Aban. I always rate Henderson ahead of Aban. And Lawrence Osei is in the Chan team. Aban is in the Chan team. Look at the players. Look at Ismail Ado in midfield. And then Echi, that young man in midfield. They brought him from around this area, North Kaneshi. Okay. Fantastic player from a Division 2. Look at what he's doing in them. The Kwanzaa guy that has dyed his hair was loaned to Oko United. Then he's back into the squad. Look at their front line. Absent from Samates, he talk of being junior. And they are doing so well. And the Freeman, even if Freeman doesn't play, they have Ataje to play. So you could clearly see that it is very difficult for you to beat Kwando Heart of Lions at Kwando. Look, a team that is playing so well. I mean, the likes of Nieje, Stephen Aholo.
What's it about Kwando?
No, the point is that they are making that place a fortress. Look, it's difficult to break their back line. Look at their midfield. They dominate games. My worry with them is that they are becoming so headed. They believe that they are there. That is why when they drew against Oblast, Bashir Ford was talking about the players have become so headed solid and they believe they are there. But I also think that there are equally good players on your bench. When Ishmael was with the U20, you had the opportunity to use different players. Yeah. So put them on the bench and then probably bring some competition into the team. I mean, they were able to beat Young Apostles, and they won that game. And it was a difficult one for Young Apostles, though they beat Beche before going to play that game. And of course, Coach Emisa won his first game for Beche United. You know, his first game was against Young Apostles. He lost. Though he took the lead, he lost that game. But I believe that they played so well at home to beat Samates by 2-0. For me, I was surprised at Samates. Christopher Indi needs to lip up his game. I mean, away from Summer Boy, he's struggling. But at home, it's not bad. His next game is against Kumasi and Santo Kotoko, and it's going to be a tough one. Yeah. Gold Stars beat Karela. Last season, Karela came to shock them. They were the only team that won against them in the Ghana Premier League before they won the league. But of course, they've done very well. They pipped them by a lone goal. I told you about Basake Holy Stars. Though they were able to beat Gold Stars, they will struggle against Vision FC, and it will end in a draw. They took the lead in the 3rd minute through Cheneboa. But I think that Vision, looking at the game against Kotoko, they are a very good side, play good football. 2-2 scoreline. I think it was a fair reflection of the game. And I think Mediama, Coach Ibrahim Tankus, Mediama has been so
even without 2 of his key players.
I would say 3. Yes, I would say 3 because Emmanuel Aban is also injured, and for me, he's playing even better than Prince Owusu, who is in the Blast Stars camp. He's got quality within the midfield, young players, apart from Mubarak, who is very experienced in the team. And look at God knows Jakwasu. If these guys from the national team can sit on the bench, I spoke to you about Nana Kofi Babel, who got the 2nd goal for Mediama. I think that Shapiro needs to sit up. If he's not able to win his next game, we are afraid something will happen to him. And you know what will happen to him. So week 10, I think it has been wonderful. Yeah. And going into week 11, we'll be here on Friday to have that discussion. Right. And I think that Ghana Premier League has been fantastic this very weekend.
Sure. And Coach, your boys are in there, the Hearts of Lions player. So there's Eche Dogli.
Yes, I told you.
Yeah, he's in the Black Galaxy squad.
Yes, he's there.
And there's Aban Lawrence Ansa.
Yes, Aban is
and
there.
then there's Aban, Ebenezer Aban as well. So all those boys are in there.
So they have 3. Kotoko have 3. Nations have 3. House of Folk have 3. You talk of Bichima, they have 2 players. Karela have 1 player. Samates have 1 player. And all that. And Bebiani Gold Stars
also have Mafo.
Bebiani Gold Stars, they have 2. Adriana have 1 player. I think that it is 11 Wonders, Baseke, and the Young Apostles who players are missing in this squad. But this is just the first batch, and I'm sure the second batch players will troop in.
Right.
The Division 1 players probably will have a few of them in the second batch. You know, they are preparing for the 4-nation tournament that is coming on in Nigeria. Yeah. But my worry is the teams are going to camp in Swedru. The coach will release them on Thursday morning after their training sessions, and then they'll go back to their base to play for their various clubs. Now that some clubs are yet to win games, others too are fighting for the top spot. Ghana Premier League, if you are able to manage it well, and then you finish within the top 4 by the end of the first round, you should be able to know your position come the second round of the Ghana Premier League. And I'm sure that the boys are doing so well. The coaches are also not bad, and I think that this season the referees are not doing bad. I think that few of them are taking some decisions that I think that they can correct themselves, and at the end of the day, we will not come and sit here and discuss officiating, but we will be discussing tactics and players that have improved upon their performances.
Right. Coach Ebenezer Sefa, thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning. Right. Because of other reasons, I have to release you early. So, Coach, thanks for joining us. Hopefully,
let me say congratulations to Atapuku.
Oh, okay.
They were denying a clear penalty. There are no doubt about it. And I think that Kotoko also should have known that within the first 10 minutes, their midfield was not working. You don't wait till 35 minutes. If Adriana were purposeful up front, they would have finished Kotoko within that 35 minutes before coming back to get that equalizer. It was a good game. I really enjoyed it.
Sure. Coach, have a good day. And hopefully on Friday, we'll have you back to do the preview of match day 11.
Definitely. I'm sure by then, Nathan will be here for more stories.
Yeah, you bring us more filler. And then you possibly take us to Shapiro's last match.
I beg.
Premier League, Division 1 League, Women's Premier League, it's back again, 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 it's back again. Ghana, Premier League, Division 1 League, Women's Premier League, it's back again. She did. Ref. This is our own. Let's cherish our own. Ghana Premier League is back again. This is our own. Let's cherish our own. Ghana Premier League is back again.
And still on the Ghana Premier League, I have Michael Asaribuedu joining me on the line. He is also going to take us through a few of the games we watched over the weekend. And I'm sure Michael was in Kumasi definitely to what that game, the top line of the weekend between Kotoko and Ediana Stars or Ediana Sporting Club. Let me quickly get back onto the lines and then speak to Michael. Michael, good morning to you and welcome to Sporty Breakfast. Michael, kindly unmute. Okay, right. I can hear you now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Michael. You can go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Michael.
All right.
So let's go to that game between Kotoko and Ediana SC. Take us to the game. Exactly what happened and how did Kotoko still manage to survive that and hold on to the unbeaten run in the Ghana Premier League?
Well, I think it was a game that Kotoko were full of expectations that they will get a win at home, judging by their form that in their last two games they had picked 4 points from an available 6. They had beaten Accra Sofoki in the Super Clash. They had also gotten a draw against Vision FC. And if you compare those two results to last season in the 2 away games against Sofoki and Vision, they picked just 2 points. So picking 4 out of 6 meant that it was very positive, and they decided to just draw inspiration from that and then hope that their home form against Ediana Stars, especially at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, will also aid them. But the reality is that it is a Kotoko team that has been a bit blunt in terms of attack and a team that has also been battling with injury issues. Prior to the start of the game, Zito had to change his starting lineup. In midfield, he has selected Samba O'Neill, Lord Hilary Adabo, and then also Seth Kojo. So Seth Kojo was supposed to be that creative element in the middle. Unfortunately, he had to pull out of a game in the last minute because he also had injury concerns, and that the team had to quickly constitute a different midfield selection. And that is where Samuel Tinedu had to come in, and then he had to replace Seth Kojo. But naturally, Tinedu is your typical defensive midfielder and not your creative midfielder. So it meant that he had to play a role he was not very comfortable with. And it showed in the 30 minutes or so that he lasted on the pitch. He was basically not confident in the role. He did not really play it as per the expectations and the instructions given him by the coaches. And they also felt that his part played in the lead up to Ediana's goal was actually a player who did not really give them what they were expecting of him. And it was not surprising that Karim Zito had to sub him off and bring on Baba Yaya. Now, a lot of questions were asked as to why, if Zito had Baba Yaya on the pitch and as part of the team squad, why did he not select him from the start? And the explanation given was that he had just returned from injury. He was lacking match fitness, and they just had to bring him on board as a matter of urgency. And that if everything had gone to plan, maybe Baba Yaya would have come on as a second half substitute. But you could tell that when he came on, he influenced Kotoko's play positively. And the impact he had was that it turned the game around in favor of Asante Kotoko. That was when they were able to come passes together in the middle. Baba Yaya, due to his movement and then his progressive carries, was able to find pockets of spaces in between the Ediana FC team. And then it kind of brought Asante Kotoko back into the game. And they were able to build on this momentum, created chances. And then one of it led to Lord Amua getting that second ball from an Ediana Stars clearance, where he rifled a shot straight into the net that fetched them the equalizer. But the first half, the start of it and everything, clearly was Ediana FC's game. They dominated right from the start. Emmanuel Mafo, excellent hold-up play. He was able to hold on to the ball, retain possession, and then bring the Ediana FC attackers into the game. The likes of Mesha Kefrie on the right and then Henson and Ponzo on the left. They were tormenting Asante Kotoko. And when Ediana got that early goal, it pushed Asante Kotoko more forward. They were eager to push forward, get more players in attacking positions and try to see if they could create chances. And that also worked in Ediana FC's favor because it meant that in every counter-attacking situation, they were either outnumbering Kotoko or they were finding enough spaces to run into. And through such an instance, Ediana feels, and I think, yes, they have every opportunity to feel aggrieved by the decision taken by referee Moro Osman. Clearly, they should have been given a second penalty. That tackle from Patrick Esiedu on Meshak Efie was clearly a foul, and if it was outside the box, any referee would give this. So some of us were very surprised that it did not happen, that the referee awarded a penalty in favor of Ediana FC. But in as much as Kotoko even got an equalizer in the first half, I think the best team in the first half was Ediana FC. And surprisingly, in the entirety of this season, this was the first time they had scored in the first half. And this was the first time that they had been ahead of the team in the first half. Ediana, before this game, has scored all of their goals in the second half of their matches that they had played in. So it was a bit different with how they started this game. But I don't know, maybe they studied Asante Kotoko. They knew that Kotoko were there for the taking, judging by the injury withdrawals, and then Kotoko not really having enough energy in their tank because Kotoko had played back-to-back away games. They then made a trip from Accra to Kumasi and arrived late, 11:30 p.m. on Thursday. After playing against Vision, they decided to cool off somewhere in Accra, and then they made that journey to Kumasi. They said that their bus had developed a fault and they had to work on it, so they delayed. And they arrived in Kumasi late, 11:30 on Thursday. So clearly it wasn't the Kotoko team that had enough energy to challenge Ediana, and I think Ediana profited from that. It's unfortunate that they did not get decisions in their favor to give them a kind of cushioning in the game that would have helped them to build on that and then seek for the win. But it was an exciting game, and Kotoko definitely will learn lessons and then work on some of the issues in their team ahead of Wednesday's game against Young Apostles.
Right, Michael, let's wrap up the conversation on the Ghana Premier League. Which other game caught your attention this weekend? Which other game's result actually caught you by surprise?
Well, not really surprised, but I think it just fits into how the teams who have showed that early signs that they are serious about winning the title. One is Mediama FC. In back-to-back away games, in their last away trip before their game against 11 Wonders, they went to Doma, they forced Mediama FC, and they got a point. They did not concede. And then again, they went all the way to a struggling 11 Wonders, and then they got a win, even in the absence of some of their influential players, Prince Owusu and then Kelvin Nkrumah. And if you can remember on Friday, when we were having that conversation about Midiama's game against 11, I told you that they had enough players as part of their squad list and players who can fill in when other players are not available. And Ibrahim Tanko knows his team very well. So even in the absence of Owusu and then Nkrumah, they will definitely have enough players to step up and then deliver for them. And then God knows Japaksu is one of the options. He's not really started a lot of games for them this season, but he's a viable option from the bench. He's able to impact games when he's thrown on. And it wasn't surprising that when he got a start, he got them their opening goal. And then also for Nana Kofi Babo, does not really have that kind of exuberance. And then the vibe around him is not like he burst onto the scene some years ago, but he still has some quality and experience to transform games for Midiama. And clearly you can tell that Midiama are looking like the team to beat so far in the Ghana Premier League. It is that impressive with how they've done everything around them, the squad building, and also their preseason. They went all the way to Ivory Coast to prepare for the Ghana Premier League, clearly telling you that they know what they are doing. So it wasn't surprising that they got that away result against 11 Wonders. For 11 Wonders, we've discussed their issues at length, and I might sound like a broken record if I have to repeat it again. For Bechem United, they are also showing that there are other aspects to their game. So even when they are not playing and scoring a lot from open play, they are utilizing their set pieces. Yesterday, they won 2-0, and one of the goals came from a set piece, meaning that 80% of the goals that Bechem United have scored this season have come from set pieces. One from a throw-in, a long throw from Augustine Okra, and then 4 from corner kicks, and then also 1 from a free kick situation. Clearly, it is to showcase that Bechema are making the most of the set pieces this season. And it's not just them, but they are the highlight. They are actually the team that have demonstrated that consistency in terms of scoring from set pieces. And I think that Kobene Mensah will be very excited that he got his first win. And then the policy of the club in making sure that they prioritize on working out in terms of set pieces is also paying off, and they will be very excited about it. And I'm hoping that they will build on this result they got against Samates in subsequent games, and then they should be able to get the results. But for the other results, I think it was just the normal GPL trend. Home teams would definitely dominate against the away sides. And I think that apart from Mediana, apart from Midiema, the rest of the teams that won at home, it tells you that clearly they were making the most out of the GPL trend. And that is what we saw on match week 10. And then an improvement as well.
Right.
Last season, match week 10 gave us 10 goals. This season, match week 10 has produced 18 goals, which is like 80% more than we witnessed last season, which is an improvement. And I think there should be commendations, because the number of goals scored per match week 10 had been decreasing season after season, right from the 2020-2021 season when we adopted this 18-club model. But I think from 22, it came down to 19. From 19, it came to 15. And then we saw 10 last season. But if it's appreciated to 18, I think maybe teams are starting to do things right. And it's a positive sign. So it was a good weekend as regards the Ghana Premier League.
Well, that's Michael. Michael will stay with me because we'll get into the subject of the Black Stars in a bit. But let me run you through the league table after match day 10 of the 2025-2026 Ghana Premier League.
We've been there. Division 1 league is back again. Since the days of Abedi Pele, we've been there.
So after match day 10 of the 2025-2026 Ghana Premier League, Midiema SC are currently top of the table, 21 points. Heart of Lions, Congo Heart of Lions, they are also on 21 points. They are in second place. So Midiema has a better goal difference than Heart of Lions. Ediana FC are third on 20 points. Bibiani Gold Stars are fourth, 19 points. Accra Heart of Folk are fifth on 17 points. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they are sixth. They have 16 points, but they have played only 8 games out of the possible 10. Samatex are 7th on 16 points. They are 7th. 8th place, you have Young Apostles. They have played 9 games and they have 14 points. Vision FC, they are 9th. They have picked up 13 points from 10 games. Kerala United are 10th, 13 points from 10 games. Dreams FC have 11 points. They are currently 11th. And then you have Brekum Chelsea, currently 12th on 11 points. Hahoe United are 13th on 10 points. Nations FC are 14th on 10 points. Bechem United are 15th on 9 points. And in the drop zone, you have Sweden All Blacks, who have picked up 8 points from 10 games. Holy Stars have 6 points from 9 games. And at the bottom of the table, you have 11 Wonders, who have picked up only 2 points from 10 games this season.
I say Premier League, Division 1 League, Women's Premier League, it's back again, 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 it's back again. Ghana.
And by way of reward for some of the best performers in the Ghana Premier League, Coach Kasim Okanse Mingle has invited 30 players for residential camping on Monday, November 17 to Thursday, November 20 in Swedro. The invited players are expected to report at the Elohim Hotel, Swedro at 2 p.m. And the first batch of selected players are expected to undergo intensive training sessions within the week as Coach Mingo and his assistants begin the quest to build a strong and competitive squad for the upcoming CHAN qualifiers. A second batch of players will be invited to camp subsequently as part of the team building process. Now, these are the 30 players who made it into the team. Felix J of Midiema SC, Lawrence Ansa Heart of Lions, Apia Kubi Bibiani Gold Stars, Gideos Esiaku, Dreams FC, Razak Simpson Nations FC, Ebenezer Aban Heart of Lions, Kamaradini Namudu Midiema SC, Muhammad Ali Hearts of Folk, Samuel Kufo Nations FC, Isaac Yaro Dreams FC, Patrick Esiedu, Asante Kotoko. Both AT Regain. Wow, that's an interesting name. Bechem United. Prince Owusu, Midiyama SC. Kelvin Nkrumah, Midiyama SC. Suraj Seidu, Dreams FC. Eche Dogli, Hearts of Lions. Akwesi Sorotu, Badori, Brekum Chelsea. Seth Kwadwo, Asante Kotoko. Abdul Karim, Hearts of Folk. Emmanuel Mafo, Ediana FC. Peter Amidu, Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Darling Yeboah, Bechem United. Emmanuel Ano Nations FC. Emmanuel Mama, Samatex FC. Then you have Emmanuel Aban playing for Bechem United. Samuel Atakumi, Bibiani Gold Stars. Martin Kakari, Accra Hearts of Folk. Shaibu Faisal, Brekum Chelsea. Gariba Faisal, Karela FC. And then Kusi Nana Asante Vision FC. So these are the players. But Michael, now there's an interesting name in there. AT Regain. Who's that player? Or maybe I'm not getting it right. Or maybe there's a mistake there.
Yes, there was a spelling mistake. The name is Boat Regan. Boat as in Boating. So Boat Regan. He plays for Bechem United. He's their general captain. But I don't know. I'm quite surprised with some of the names in there.
Yeah, it's BOAT, then there's a hyphen, then there's AT, and then there's Regain. So
he actually spells his name BO, then the hyphen AT. So it should have been BO, then the hyphen AT. Boat Regan. That is how he spells his name.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's been one of the mainstays at Bechem United for some time now. And it is deserving that he gets his name in here.
Right.
But I think there's also a mistake with Apia Kubi, Bibiani Gold Stars. Maybe they were looking at Emmanuel Kobe, who's the goalkeeper of Bibiani Gold Stars, because I don't know of any goalkeeper who is by name Apia Kubi and stars games for Bibiani Gold Stars. So there have been mistakes in there. Talk of how some of the names have been spelled. Even for number 22, it is Dalvin Yeboah of Bechem United, and they made it Darlin Yeboah. Number 22. So it's Darwin Yeboah. So maybe some typographical errors that were in there. But I'm surprised some names are not here. And I don't understand the rationale behind first batch, second batch. So how are they going to select them? I think you just select your best 30 players. And Mingle is, he was a coach in the Ghana Premier League. He knows the best players already. I don't think you need to be calling players in batches all in a bit to screen them and select some. There are some here who do not even deserve to be here. And then there are some who deserved, and then they not get the call-up to be part of this list. And then there is even not enough balance in terms of players that they have called. Yeah. If you look through the list carefully, the center-backs are more than the other positions. Goalkeepers are 4. I don't think we need to be going through such wholesale call-ups, and then we have to prune it. And then eventually, when they do the pruning, you will still not see the best of the Premier League being assembled. I actually do have issues here because form is also very important. Alex Boache is arguably one of the best center-backs in the country. He is on form for Ediana FC. If you don't call him now and you wait for, let's say, like 2 months later, and then when he's out of form and you call him, it does not really pay off. So I think they should have just done the call-up based on the form of players who are currently playing in the Ghana Premier League. Then you build on that successively. So in the next edition, you keep a base of the players you select from this initial 30 and then call players who are also on form during that time. But you don't neglect those who are currently on form, and then you assemble 30 players and you say you are using them, because I don't think Samuel Kofo of Nations FC at this point in time is better than Alex Boache. I don't think so. Again, you decided to call Shaibu Faisal of Brekum Chelsea. And I don't think he's also better than Alex Boache as it stands now. Remember, Adomako has been one of the best fullbacks in the Ghana Premier League as it stands. He's a reason Ediana FC are where they are in the Ghana Premier League. He's not here. Seydou Sana, excellent midfielder. Everybody saw his exploits yesterday in the game for Ediana. He's also not here. Lord Amoa, one of the best right backs in the game. He is not here. Then you call players, you assemble them, and you say it's the best of the GP as it stands now. And it's your first batch. Kasim Mengo can come back again. I think this is not the best selection he can make for us.
Right. Michael, thank you very much for those very, very strong words for for Casemiro. He got to come back. Well, I mean, maybe Michael, we're going to see some of these players in the second batch. We'll see.
The second batch be announced. You see, time is of essence. You are talking about players and form, and I mentioned earlier, players can go out of form at any point in time. The best time to try them is when they have hit their top form. You called Ebenezer Aban because he's been one of the top performing defenders for Heart of Lions and for consistency. He was part last season. This season is continuing from where he left off. Eche Dogli has been a breath of fresh air. He's a reason a lot of people were mentioning Ishmaelado, but he was a main guy, making sure that the defensive midfield position of Heart of Lions is working. It is actually paying off. You've given them color based on their recent performance. So it is a recency thing. Right. Boat Regan is my guy. For this season, I don't think Boat Regan is a better defender or defensive midfielder than any other player that is available that I've mentioned. So why don't we do the selection based on recent form? What players for their recent form, and then you build on that because it's a season long. I don't think the Black Galaxies will be engaged in any competitive fixture as it stands now.
Michael,
the only thing they'll do will be friendly games. Let me just leave it here. I think maybe I'm just.
Let me give you another team that would give you headache and give you a lot to talk about. It's the Black Stars. And the Black Stars were in action on Friday against the Blue Samurai of Japan, in a game that many Ghanaians want to forget, and it was one of those games. Now, quite a lot of things happened in that game, notably the injury to Francis Abu. It was a very unfortunate injury, but yesterday we got some updates for you on his injury situation at the moment, and let me take you through what Sporty FM put out yesterday on our findings so far. Now, doctors confirmed a double fracture to the tibia and fibula in the right leg following accident with Japan's Ao Tanaka in Friday's international friendly. Now, Francis Abu was taken to the Toyota Memorial Hospital where surgery was successful. Post-operation care of at least a week is expected before he flies back to France. Constant three-way communication among medical teams of Abu's club Toulouse FC, the Ghana Football Association, and the Toyota Hospital clearly has been going on. Preliminary diagnosis suggests Abu could be back to playing earlier than the 6 to 8 months initially thought. Ghana would hope his form is good enough to play at the 2026 World Cup. The 24-year-old was visited by top Ghana Football Association staff, the Black Stars committee members, and the technical team officials. Black Stars team member is a Black Stars medical team member is currently with Abu at the hospital, and the senior technical team member will fly with the player from Japan to his home in France after his discharge to ensure proper post-operation care. We wish Francis Abu a speedy recovery. But let's get into the game itself.
We champions already, blasters never lose guard. We go jubilate. We champions already, blasters never lose guard. We go celebrate. We champions already, blasters never lose guard. Jagana, you did it.
And unfortunately, Black Stars lose guard.
Control the bacteria clamp.
They were beaten fairly and squarely by the Blue Samurai. The Japanese said, well, this was quite a game. After playing Brazil and playing Ghana, well, you only beat what is in front of you. A very disappointing performance. But Michael, you watched that Black Stars game. Quick thoughts on that game. Which players impressed you? Which players completely, failed to deliver? Let's just do a quick review of that game. What went wrong for the Stars in there?
I think any team that would have to play a game of this magnitude, judging by the opponent, and then miss out on the spine, will definitely not give you the performance that you expect. Ghana playing without Jiku, without Partey, without Jordan, without Kudus definitely takes something away from the Black Stars. Let's not forget that there's a Black Stars team that has not really had some level of consistency for the past 4 years. There's a team that is being rebuilt. We've had coaching changes. We've had players come in and go. And the team has actually been built on the foundation of some players. So the absence kinds of leaves a lot of holes to be filled. And we did not really have the personnel for that. We needed character, we needed leadership, and we did not have it in defense. We did not have it in the middle, and we did not have it in attack as well. And that is how come you saw a lot of disjointed plays. Our play was not really well coordinated, and it looked like we were bereft of ideas whenever we had to progress the ball from our defense to the attacking areas. Anytime that we had to create an attacking instance, it was by the sheer act of a player's brilliance, individual ability, to weave his way through, force his way through. And I think it did not really augur well for us. The opponent was Japan. And this is a team that has been kept intact right from the academical stage before they progress all the way to their professional careers. These players, the core of the team, has played together for like 7-8 years and counting, right from the junior level to the senior level. And they are playing for top level teams. So it's not like your typical Japan where they would have been stuck in their domestic league, lacked exposure, lacked character. There's a different Japan. And there's a Japan that has gone to World Cup tournament and they've caused upset against the likes of Germany and the others. So clearly the picture was that how will we measure up to the international standard? And I think we are not there yet. And what made it more difficult for us was that we did not have our main men present. But after saying all this, I still think we could have done better than we did. It looked like it was a Black Stars team that were anxious on the field of play. We were so scared about making mistakes that it limited us in terms of decision making. Most of our players were looking for the easy passes that would not really put them in trouble. They were not really in a position to take much risk so that they could open up the Japanese team and create opportunities for us. And that is something that I think we need to shed off going forward. We need to be a bit brave and bold in our approach. In as much as we might not have the quality as compared to the opponent that we play, I still think we still have a certain level of quality that can allow us to play the game as we expect. But right from the coaching department to the playing body, if we are a bit anxious about the opponent and the stage that we are on, I don't think it augurs well for us. And it was something that I saw play out throughout the duration of the game that we played against the Japanese. They were more confident and we were more scared, and that cost us. And it also did not really help us in terms of where we had to transition from the moment we lose possession into shaping up to be in that kind of structure that will allow us to thwart any effort from the Japanese. I think it wasn't a game that I was so pleased. And there is not too many positives to discuss from the game against Japan. And then on top of it, the bad news involving Francis Abu. I think we can't correct our mistakes in the game against South Korea. We can't be better. If we want to go with entirely new players, just send them out onto the pitch, but encourage them, inspire them to play with a certain courage, a certain boldness. Let them be brave. Let them take the initiative to the opponent that we play. If it does not work, it does not work. We saw Brazil versus Senegal. Clearly, you can tell that Brazil had that quality. They oozed it right from the start. But Senegal also showed something, that they could also play well, but it's just that the stage was bigger for them. We can tap into the Senegalese experience and play with that courage. We should play with that, and I think it will help our game.
Right. Michael, let me say a big thank you to you for joining us on the show this morning. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll do a quick preview of that game between the Black Stars of Ghana and the South Korea national team. But updates from the team camp, Coach Otuado has been left with 19 players for the friendly match against South Korea on Tuesday at the World Cup Stadium in Seoul. Mohamed Salisu and Antoine Semenyo have left the Black Stars camp due to injuries. Mohamed Salisu, he has an injury, and it's a ligament sprain. It's a bilateral medial collateral ligament sprain, and he's been sent back to his club side Monaco. For Antoine Semenyo, his left anterior talofibular ligament sprain was aggravated during the game against Japan. Semenyo was replaced by Prince Kwabena-Edu in the 55th minute. So 2 injuries, 2 Black Stars players ahead of the game against Korea, and we wish them well. Michael, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow again to talk about the Black Stars and other matters pertaining to the team. Big thank you to you for joining us on the show. Right. And before we go, I have great news for you. Have you heard of the latest from MTN? If you've not, just listen up. For those of you who love MTN Free After One, prepare for the upgraded experience that is MTN Free After One Extra. Now, let me tell you about it. With MTN Free After One Extra, you can talk for 1 whole hour uninterrupted while paying for only the first minute of every 10 minutes you talk. Now, what does this mean? For every 10 minutes you talk within an hour, you only pay for the first minute, and you get to talk for 60 minutes straight with no interruptions. As if that is not enough, you also get 100 megabytes of data for free after your first call on Saturdays. So, now is the time to talk extra with the people you love. To subscribe to MTN Free After One Extra today, just dial *550# *550#, and follow the prompts. This advert or this announcement is coming from MTN. MTN, everywhere you go. And Ghana may not be playing at the Africa Cup of Nations, but the tournament is being hosted in the beautiful Kingdom of Morocco, and it coincides with the end of the year celebrations. This December, Dunia Safari and Sporty FM are bringing you closer to the games. Why don't you try something different from the usual Dirty December routine? Go on, dare to be different. Travel with your squad or family, watch AFCON games live, and explore Morocco like never before. Dunia Safari is giving you an exclusive group travel package to see the Nigerians play. The Super Eagles of Nigeria play last year's finalists and also last year's winners, La Côte d'Ivoire. Use Sporty FM promo code SPORTYFAN25 when booking to unlock a special 20% discount for a minimum of 3 people booking. Don't just hear it on Sporty FM, see the game live in Morocco. Limited spots are available, so just visit their website, duniasafari.com, or call 053-808-7709. Let me take the number again, 053-808-7709, or send them an email, travelduniasafari@gmail.com. They're also on social media. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok at Travel Dunia Safari. Don't forget to book using Sporty FM promo code SPORTYFAN25.